Boston's home for sports. 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
A report from the Bay Area overnight says the 49ers have negotiated the framework of a trade that would send receiver Brandon Aiyuk to either the Patriots or the Browns, and they've given Aiyuk permission to work out a contract with one of those teams to finalize the deal. Patriots would be expected to send Kendrick Bourne and draft picks to San Francisco. Cleveland could offer Amari Cooper and picks. Patriots linebacker Matthew Judon did practice yesterday, spoke with the media too, and said he wants to stay in New England, but that's up to team management. Pats will have another practice open to the public this morning starting at 11 o'clock. Red Sox 18 hits last night in a 9-5 win over the Royals. That pulls them to within a game and a half of KC for the third wild card. Game 2 of that 3-game series is tonight. Brian Bayo takes on the Royals' Seth Lugo. And the U.S. Olympic men's basketball team will take on Brazil in a quarterfinal matchup today. That starts at 3:30. The New England Revolution host Nashville in the final group stage match of the Leagues Cup. Kickoff at Gillette Stadium tonight, 7:30 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Sports Hub headlines brought to you by Awaken 180. Take strokes off your game by taking pounds off your frame with Awaken 180. How many birdies can you uncover? Visit awaken180weightloss.com. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines in around 30 minutes.
Get
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app.
Fred, hello. Hello. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Somebody about with a football.
98.5. The Hub.
Bruins are back from the West Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na.
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Yeah. Welcome to the show, you sweet bitch.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy. We are in the Town Fair Tire Studios. You can call us. It's 617-779-0985. You can watch us on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub. We're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. There's a guy who writes for The Ringer named Alan Siegel, who I'm always be fond of because he wrote an article about the old show that was very, very nice and very, very nice. And it was, I'd say he wrote it about 2011. So it was a long time ago, but it was, he interviewed us a bunch of times, and it was a real article. It was in Boston Magazine, and my ex-wife had it framed. And it was very kind. And so he wrote, he still writes, he's still a writer. He's had access to very famous people. And he just wrote an article about, have you guys heard about this movie that's coming out called The Instigators?
Yeah, the Casey Affleck and Matt Damon.
Yes.
Yes.
And it says the first 15 minutes of The Instigators is like Boston Bingo. There's a photo of Bobby Orr going airborne after a Stanley Cup winning goal, a cup of Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
Oh, I love Dunkin'.
And a scene at the bowels of Fenway Park, but no hyper-specific local reference made. My latent degenerate masshole pride bubble up like the sight of people playing Keno. And he goes on to say, the Keno thing, he says, and then Alan says, I want to start with this. What's something about Boston that you've had to explain to people in your lives who aren't from there? And Matt Damon says, probably our rabid sports fandom because it's not normal. I didn't realize until I started traveling around the country. People don't live or die by their teams necessarily in other cities unless you're Philly. Matt Damon does not live on the planet anymore.
I was going to say, like, why would you need to explain that people are into sports? I can think of 5 things off the top of my head that you would have to explain to somebody who doesn't live here that they don't know about. Like, how about steak tips?
That was on my list.
Like, steak tips don't exist. I mean, any place I lived, never heard of them, didn't know what they were. Around here, everybody knows what steak tips are.
Okay, because I can tell you everywhere I've ever lived. And in my parents live in East Tennessee, and they're obsessed with University of Tennessee sports. Obsessed.
Yeah.
Not my parents, the people of East Tennessee. I mean, Detroit is obsessed with its teams. I think as much as Boston is. I mean, the sports talk radio there does really well too. But they like Michigan State and Michigan too, so maybe it's a little bit more spread out. When I lived in Atlanta, they were obsessed with the University of Georgia football.
Oh yeah.
I mean, obsessed with it. So that I think that, listen, Matt Damon's probably a very nice man, but he's a little cloistered.
I think he's removed from the situation now to where he can't identify the things that are specific to Boston. I mean, sports? That's what you came up with?
I think that if you live in L.A., that because Mark Hamilton in Santa Monica took me to a bar that was like a Boston bar, and there was like a Red Sox game on, and people were pretending like to be super into it, even though it was, the spring.
Yeah.
And then people were like pretending that they were living dying by every play.
Oh.
So maybe in L.A. you get, you get a little removed from it. Casey Affleck says the tone of exchange, like, "Hi, how are you doing?" It's not an indication of how they feel about you, because they'll go like, "God," they'll go like, "God, everyone is so unfriendly," and you're like, "No, how are you?" It sounds aggressive, but actually they're exchanging pleasantries, as if to say, as they say. No, people in Boston are not friendly. They're entirely. See, you're off there. The sports is the same everywhere. Boston's much less friendly.
I
than
would
other
disagree.
places.
The sports is not the same everywhere. There's like 5 really good sports markets in America. The rest of them are,
But
they kind of care.
What if you include college?
Yeah, then you're including basically the entire southeast United States.
Well, you're also including like the entire state of Nebraska. They follow Huskers.
Or Oklahoma
football.
or Texas.
Like everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, so I agree California is not a great sports area. They don't really care. But Northern California or Southern California, I don't even know. Maybe they like the Giants in San Francisco. What do I know? I've only been to San Francisco once. But you have to include college sports because it matters. I mean, it matters a lot. It's the same. Like East Tennessee to Tennessee sports is the same as pro sports is to Boston.
Yeah.
Like everywhere you go around here, people have Red Sox hats on, but where you go around there, people that never saw their way out of middle school are wearing burnt orange or whatever the hell color it is.
And maybe there's fewer sports or teams that they follow, but I find it difficult to believe you would need to explain to somebody from Green Bay what it's like to really be into sports. Like
or Milwaukee
they get it.
Or Chicago or Cleveland or Detroit. I mean all those Midwestern cities, Indianapolis.
Anywhere where the weather sucks and you don't have anything else.
But even
to
when the
focus
weather,
in on.
but when the weather doesn't really suck, it's almost in the Southeast. Listen to Paul Feinbaum. All they care about it is college football.
Yeah, but it's just humid and like I don't know.
Well, the weather sucks everywhere except for like L.A. Basically, if you were going by that metric.
Okay, but no. Look, San Diego. Obviously, they don't care about sports.
No.
So because the weather's too good.
Right.
I would say even places like Phoenix, Miami.
Phoenix and Miami, though, I could also say because they're transient towns. And so's Atlanta. So what do I know?
Yeah.
And also Miami isn't really – well, they're very into soccer, as you saw when they tried to hold that Copa American thing in people
I don't know if everybody there
there
was born and raised in Miami. All the people trying to get into that state. I'm not sure.
And they just, the idea that the people had gone, if you don't know, there's a Copa American thing that was a South America or just the Americas playing in soccer. They played in the Hard Rock Stadium, and the people were like, hey, you got to get more security. And they went to the police and they're like, this could be a big deal. And both went, nah. And then they turned into be complete anarchy.
I like that, though, Fred. It is, all the Americas, as we are all American,
Say that to Canada. Yep. If you say to Canadians, I'm American, they go, we're all American.
Yeah. El Salvador, we're all Americans.
Yeah, that's very true. But Casey Affleck, the one thing I do anywhere I go is people are much nicer. Strangers are much nicer any other place. Any other place.
A little too nice sometimes for my liking.
Well, yeah, in Tennessee, you have to wave. Zoe sees it. You have to there's this idea that you have to wave at people when they come by.
You have to have a little visit with people like cashiers and just people that you would normally have no relationship with at all, other than a here's the money, thank you. No, you got to visit for a moment.
But it's like a 5-minute ordeal at the checkout of every store because the person just wants to chat.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's age too. The older they think they know you. They're under that assumption. But there is though that thing about walking down the street. My son saw this the other day when I was with him.
Buford.
When we were walking down, you're walking down the street and someone aggressively looks at you like you're a piece of crap, or you've done something wrong, or you're going to hurt them. My son's starting to get that now, and I don't know. So it's not unique to me. And my son's a friendly 16-year-old, but we passed people the other day, and he goes, "Oh my God, look at that guy! Look at him." He's they look at you like you're aggressively going to rob them, or that they're
because you're a stranger.
Yeah, just that you had the audacity to walk by them. There is that look, and a lot of times that
I'm talking here.
Here.
Oh,
here,
yeah.
here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No,
yes,
here.
Okay. Now I'm with you.
And if you pass a woman sometimes, and I'm not a woman, so I can't put myself in your shoes, so I'm not judging you. But if you pass a woman sometimes, walking the dog, even someone that you have no physical attraction to, it doesn't matter at all. So I'm not talking about glaring at them or devouring them with your eyes. There is this look down, don't look at me kind of thing when you're crossing them. And it's weird because.
Well, is it because you're barefoot though?
Oh, I always at least got flops on if I'm going to be passing people. Maybe it is because I'm barefoot. Maybe they think I'm an animal. But there is that because it's weird if you're walking towards someone for 100 yards and then you're going to pass them, it's a little unrealistic to pretend that you haven't seen them. Isn't it easier just to acknowledge them, maybe a little half smile? I think that's where I am at my life now. It's let's half smile at each other. But the kind of guy I'm talking about too. I won't get overly specific, but the people that look like they're angry that you passed them, you know what I'm talking about. Library people. The library people. They all look like not as rich versions of Larry David. Bald, but with fringy hair around where it's bald. And they had that distorted look. My son, it was very funny. My son was like, oh my God, look at that guy. And I looked at him, he's so pissed off for no reason. He's just looking at us hey! Holding his wallet.
I have to.
Two dudes in Newton walking down the street.
I have to say though, Fred, your default facial expression is not one that displays a lot of friendliness.
Yeah, but I've tried to do that. My mom's the same way, and it's really just the way I think my face is. You're saying
your face is shaped in kind of like a scornful,
a resting bitch face. I don't have any lips.
Yeah.
I have no lips, so I think that's part of it. But I do try to at least. I'm aware of that, and I try to at least.
Did you say no lips or no libs? No libs.
Well, that's with my bumper sticker. You're getting that
right
confused.
on, brother.
Yeah.
No libs. Yeah.
Whatever. What do they say to Joe Biden's kid? But it's supposed to be the insult that I never got.
I don't know.
What's the thing that you're a political guy? What do they say, Joe Biden's kid? There's a phrase that they say at rallies and stuff. I forget what it is.
Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
Oh,
Let's go,
no,
Brandon.
That's not about his kid.
That's not. No.
Oh, I don't know what it's about.
That was a NASCAR thing. They were chanting F Joe Biden, and the the sideline reporter said she thought they were chanting for the guy who just won the race.
Ah,
it was, let's go, Brandon.
Well, it shows where I am.
So that's
at.
why it's.
Yeah, I don't follow it that closely. I'm way too busy, reading about Ben Affleck and Casey Affleck to follow.
Digging into the deeper issues.
Listen, baby, there's an order to the universe. We're just along for the ride, baby. Listen, we're all gonna be all right. But anyway, and by the way, Keno is on TV at bars, not as much as when I first moved here. But I would question how many people are playing Keno in the bars. I've seen people play Keno at like Cumberland Farms, but like at the bar,
I play Keno when I go to a bar.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't think maybe way back in the day, like early days in Vegas, I tried it, but since then I've never played Keno. I wouldn't know how.
Yeah,
and it is from a guy who enjoys a wager.
Right.
Yeah, I'm looking to.
It's really not difficult to figure out.
I got to imagine.
Okay, so I would like for you to
There's all kinds of instructions on the back of the thing that you fill out.
I know, but I just want to do it the cool way with a guy who knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But I've never like Keno's never gotten its hooks into me or scratchies.
I don't really do scratch tickets.
I'll buy scratchies for everybody at Christmas and maybe once or twice a year. Like, I got 20 burning a hole in my pocket. Let's give it to the state because I don't win.
Well, they were designed to annoy. So because they invariably, if you're in a hurry, someone's buying lottery tickets and are exchanging them.
Or cashing in
tickets for more tickets, which is the way to do it, and then being very specific about what they want out of the. But scratch tickets are everywhere. They
Give me two of the number 4s. I'll take one of the 16.
Yeah. No, not the 16. No.
Now the one below it.
Yeah, the one below. No, the $5 one. No, not that $5 one. The other $5 one. And you're like, oh my God.
DOB, what were you gonna say? You had something on Keno. You skid.
Well, yeah, because if you do the 5 numbers, right, if you pick 5, excuse me, and you get you hit them, it's under the $600 threshold.
Oh,
where you have to claim.
So you don't have to go to like Woburn to claim it.
They might be able to go into the register and give you the cash.
They have to be able.
600 is the cutoff.
I think that's the cutoff. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
But for taxes, it's 12.
Right.
All right. So that's something that's happening in Vegas right now that I read about for years. I mean, ever since I was, playing video poker, slot machines, anything, any cash out, any win on the screen that's $1,200 or more, call attendant, and they have to come over and they have to do the paperwork. Unless you are like a heavy enough gambler to where they'll give you a code to punch in on that on that little those. There's like a keypad
right
on video poker and slot machines. You can punch in that code and you'll settle up at the end of your session. They've been trying to raise that number because they said it's ridiculous.
Well, if you got some high roller who's playing,
if you're playing $100 a hand video poker, all right, and which, I maybe did once or twice, just to try it. I don't advise it, but those guys. If you get 3 of a kind, that's $1,500. The machine locks up.
Yeah, you have to have somebody sitting there next to them to
even if you
settling up.
Even if you're playing $10 5 play, like you're gonna lock that machine up with a full house. It doesn't take a lot, and so that's what they're saying. They're like, we got to raise this limit because it was arbitrarily set, Fred, in the 70s. $1,200. That's a lot of money. You're gonna have to pay taxes on that. And now the Nevada Gaming Commission, all the casinos are like, no, we want those people to win that money immediately and then piss it all away. That's what we want them to do. And the people want it too. I don't want to stop. I want to keep going here.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things even here that are arbitrary numbers that they just set up and they go, well, that's the threshold. And you're like, well, why is that the threshold? Well,
yeah.
It is.
Right.
And you're like, well, there's a lot of room between the number that you've created as the threshold and the one that you're saying this number is for. Like there's tax numbers that they're like, oh, this tax. And you go, well, what if but you're talking about going after billionaires. You know what? Take it all, Massachusetts.
Joey says that $600 is the cutoff. Anything over that, and state taxes are taken out. For six.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
600.
I don't doubt it. I don't know if you have to go to Woburn, but there might be a way that they take out money or something. I don't know what.
No, I think you do. I think it's 600. You have to go and physically claim it because they don't expect the bar is going to have like $1,000 in the till.
They're not reaching into the register right then.
So I want. All right.
All right. We got a break.
All right.
Listen. We could visit this on a weekly basis every time Ryan Johnson is his degenerate gambling at the bars. It's all about barbecue and
Keno. You know, it's fun. You go out to grab something to eat, buy a Keno ticket on the way in, just put it away. Don't even think about it. Don't watch the numbers come in, whatever, and then check it on the way out. Maybe you got a free meal.
Okay.
That sounds exciting.
It is. It's very exciting.
Tags of cheese, it's tags of cheese. It's the once a state called Massachusetts. Now we call it tags of cheese. Bum, 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 bum. They got the...
What is that?
That's Massachusetts.
I thought it was Lou Reed. Bump.
That
bump,
song
bump.
slaps.
Tags of cheese, it's tags of cheese. It's the once a state called Massachusetts. Now we call it tags of cheese. Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, Lockwoodera, you could steal all your parody songs with something else. That Glasscock character was hysterical.
All right, so we'll be right back.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, what's going on? You tell me.
Red Sox had won 3 of their previous 4 games heading into Kansas City last night. A couple games back of the Royals. And oh boy, did they start slapping that ball around.
Duran laces one up that ball down the line.
Oh, down the line. Hold the line. Everyone back up because
Toto.
you're going to be running into the corner.
Toto, hold the line.
Love isn't always on time, but
Thank
the
you.
baseball is unless it rains.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let me know when it's ready, Dan, and we'll just cue that thing up.
Duran laces one a fair ball down the line. Sogard and Rafael score, and the Red Sox lead.
Dorky studio musicians create their own band. They also played on Thriller. Did you guys know that?
Gaz and Toto played on Thriller?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I watched that. I watched the Thriller documentary movie thing. All right. It was okay.
Not enough has been discussed about that. What did they get in documentary form? You know that Eddie never got paid for that? Eddie Van Halen never got paid for the solo. He didn't care. He said he was a pleasure to be on it. Which I suppose that's how I would feel if I was him too.
I think he's in that documentary saying something that's not completely, let's just say, woke in 2024 in reference to the request that came in for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he just said something to the effect of he didn't know who Michael Jackson was. He just thought he was some, I think I'm quoting Eddie Van Halen now. He's like just some black kid who wanted a guitar on his song. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, oh, Eddie, you didn't know who Michael Jackson was?
Granted, Michael Jackson wasn't, before that album, maybe wasn't the, ultimate star, but he had been around for a little while.
But if he wasn't on Too Close for Comfort, Eddie didn't know because he was madly in love with a young Valerie Bertinelli at the time.
Who wasn't?
I mean, she made out with, she was married to Eddie Van Halen. She made out with Matthew Perry. But Eddie was philandering as well.
Oh.
I mean, Eddie Van Halen was after everyone with a red bob cut. Like the mom in 8 is Enough. You know who has a heartwarming story is Mackenzie Phillips from 8 is Enough.
Oh,
Not 8 is Enough. It's Too Close for Comfort.
Not
Too
great.
Close for Comfort.
Not great.
The hell was the show that Valerie Bertinelli was on? Not Too Close for Comfort. One Day at a Time.
So whoop on your feet, whoop on your feet.
So Mackenzie Phillips is the daughter of someone from Mama Cass's group.
Mamas and the Papas.
Mamas and the Papas. And she alleges that the father had sex with her. Hey-oh!
Jaron Duran doing Jaron Durant things.
What?
I don't know. Mike Lockhart was talking about this. I guess these guys on Nesson.
One more time, please.
Jaron Duran doing Jaron Durant things.
Yeah, when you got nothing to say, just talk in your normal voice and just call the game. Stop trying to say things interesting. You sound like a total dork. Same with that a-hole who calls the games for the Celtics. I've heard he's not the greatest guy.
Oh. All right, so that was in the 6th inning.
Drew Carter I'm talking about.
Kept it going in the 7th.
Romy swings, strikes it well, left center field, Isbell's back, and it's gone!
Woo! Smell that. It's cooking.
Partner, that's a bomb.
Oh, I don't have to do it. This guy sucks. Partner? All right there, Kimosabi.
Did you see where that ended up? Coming off the bench with some thunder. 452 feet from Romy Gonzalez. What? Not bad for a utility player. Wow.
All right, just everyone calm down.
Wow.
You see where that... Hey, partner. You see where that ended up? Yeah, dumbass. I'm calling the game, too. Yeah, in the stands. Yeah, hence the home run, stupid. If you hit...
Partner, that's a bomb.
Yeah, giddy up.
right.
Why do they have these guys calling such an important series? This Kansas City series is no joke.
It's
This
big.
is make or break time, baby.
That's the real deal. James Paxton, by the way, was a starter for your Red Sox last night. 6 innings from him. Masataka Yoshida, career high, 4 hits. Boston, 18 hits in total on the night. And they beat the Kansas City Royals 9-5 in the first of 3.
Yeah, that's you win this series, you're in business.
Yeah, they're 1.5 back of the Royals right now.
2.5.
No, 1.5.
it's 1.5
now.
now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, why did they not update this? That's interesting. Yeah, you are right. My bad. I
They
apologize.
are even in the loss column.
Oh boy, they haven't updated this. This is a shame on you, ESPN.
So that last American League wild card spot on the line there, and they could get that down to a half game tonight. So, all right. James, how'd you do it, champ?
Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly fastball, curveball. We flipped in a couple changeups there late. Warner did a great job behind the plate with the buttons. We mixed and used the curveball when it was working really well, and buried some and just made pitches with the fastball too.
Mm-hmm. That's how you doing. Alex Cora, very happy. How'd you do it?
We hit the ball all over the place. We run the bases well. The kids did an amazing job in the bottom of the lineup, right? Sogi had a great game. Hammy did a good job. And we just kept putting pressure on them.
Speaking of the mamas and the papas, Hammy.
I was going to say Mark Hamilton, but that's better.
No, Hammy is how Mama Cass Elliott, they say she died. She choked on a ham sandwich on the account she was a large lady.
Disproven.
Yeah, disproven until it gets out of my brain. Disproven doesn't mean I still don't accept it as fact.
It wasn't just a ham sandwich. I heard it as a child as in bed eating a ham sandwich, which is just paints another part of the picture, doesn't it?
Yeah, that you're just sitting in there snuggling up to
so
a
much
6-foot
mayo,
sub.
So much mayo on that ham sandwich. What else is on it? Lettuce, tomato? Nope. Ham and more ham and mayo. Bread. Soft, gooey white bread.
Oh, God, that's so gross. That's no good. I don't care for that.
There's another baseball team worthy of mention right now. Remember a few weeks back we were talking about how bad the Oakland A's are and how bad the Oakland A's were? There's a team out there right now that's so much worse, and they proved it in a head-to-head matchup last night.
Senzel swings and misses. And the A's send the White Sox to their 21st consecutive loss that ties the AL mark set by the 88 Orioles. 5-1 Oakland the final.
And, I mean, they're not that far off from the all-time mark in the modern era. I believe it's the Phillies in 68 that went 23 consecutive losses. So they're right there on the doorstep. And just knocking on the door of history with the 21st straight loss for the White Sox last night. As bad as the A's are, the White Sox are 20 games back of the A's. And there's just all kinds of fun calculations you can do if they were to win out. No, they're still terrible. Oh, if you take away the losing streaks, they're still terrible and below 500.
Yeah, in 2021, they won their division. Like in 2021.
3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago. They won 90-some-odd games. Yeah, they won 93 games 3 years ago.
So they had a 14-game losing streak earlier this year. They are on a 21-game losing streak.
Right.
Minus those, they are 27-53. If you take out the two longest losing streaks of the year, they are 27-53.
Yeah, and there's something.
Their overall record is now 27-88.
Oh.
Yeah, and if there was something I heard over the weekend that if they won all the games from then on out, like this was even before today, like all the games, that they would still be some ridiculous amount of games under 500.
Yeah.
So, but I would like to, at some point when I have some time, figure out how you got so bad in 3 years. And in 2021, was Tony La Russa still the manager in 2021? I don't know. Because people always made fun of Tony La Russa in that hire, but maybe he was the one who won the division.
He was.
Yeah. So everyone talked about how terrible Tony La Russa was. I guess Tony La Russa somewhere is saying, somewhere had dreaming behind the wheel of a car. Ooh, wee. You made fun of me then, but look at me now.
Right. Well,
I'm getting
Fred,
my 100th DUI.
Something that happened in Paris last night that will make you very happy.
Okay, well, we will find out about that all on the way. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Could the Patriots be in the receiver market? Well, a report from the Bay Area says the San Francisco 49ers have negotiated the framework of a trade that would send Brandon Aiyuk to either the Patriots or Cleveland. They've given Aiyuk permission to work out a contract with one of those teams to finalize the deal. Patriots would be expected to send Kendrick Bourne and draft picks to San Francisco. Cleveland could offer Amari Cooper and picks. Patriots will take to the practice field again this morning, 11 o'clock. It is open to the public. Kansas City Chiefs yesterday made Harrison Butker the highest-paid kicker in the league. He gets a 4-year extension worth up to $25.6 million. That's close to $18 million of that guaranteed. Red Sox with a 9-5 win over the Royals last night in Kansas City. Masataka Yoshida, 4 for 5, pair of doubles as part of the 18 hits in the game for the Red Sox. Game 2 of that 3-game series is tonight. Brian Bayo will get the start. Olympic men's basketball quarterfinals are on tap for today. It's getting late in the first game of the day. Germany leading Greece in the fourth quarter. USA will take on Brazil at 3:30. New England Revolution in action tonight in the final group stage match of the Leagues Cup. They will host Nashville. Kickoff at 7:30 at Gillette Stadium and here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Headlines are brought to you by Dr. Matthew Lopresti and Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, the hair doctor of Charlie McAvoy at 1-800-GET-HAIR. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines at 7 o'clock.
are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Hardy, you mentioned something in Paris with the Olympics, I would assume.
American hero and new sweetheart Simone Biles did not have the send-off that she was hoping for, Fred. Last night, she earned the silver medal in the floor exercise.
Not number one.
Couple of costly steps out of bounds, which seems like the easiest thing to control. It's the flipping in the air that would seem difficult. But sometimes these athletes, let's call them what they are, have trouble staying in the lines. Well, you got to stay inside the lines when you're doing that floor exercise, and they misjudge it. They fall off balance. I don't know.
If I was coaching her, I would say two things. I'd say, don't forget the dance portion of the floor exercise. Let's concentrate more on the dance portion, not so much the flippity flops.
They do judge on artistic integrity.
They really do, and it's very important. And as a viewer, I want to know what your movements have to do with the song. What's the song have to do with where you at personally? There's so much more to it than just flipping.
Don't forget to smile. They get take points off if you don't smile.
But if you're like Russian and doing some heavy piece, I don't want you smiling. I want you feeling that. And also, I'm totally out of it if you go out of bounds. The whole thing's over. It's like breaking the fourth wall during a play. I'm out of it. I can't suspend reality anymore. Like I know you're just an actor who memorized lines. I was engaged in Cats, and then Bustopher Jones turned around and his cell phone went off, and now I'm lost. You're just men in costumes. You're just James Corden. Probably having to wear a pillow to play Bustopher Jones.
Not a Bustopher Jones. I'm not skin and bones. And I'm married to a woman. I don't haunt pubs. I have 8 or 9 clubs. For I'm the St. James's Street cat.
Ew.
So isn't the floor exercise supposed to be like her forte? That's where Simone Biles really shines.
But she was dealing with like a calf injury or something.
Yeah, she put that ice right on that calf. She couldn't handle it. If you don't know what Hardy's talking about, Simone Biles, who I always enjoyed, my daughter who is here today, my young precious daughter, who actually went to go see Simone Biles at the Garden after the last Olympics. So even my family, she had Simone Biles a sweatshirt, very expensive sweatshirt that was bought for her. But Simone Biles, after one of the events, had on a diamond necklace with a diamond goat. And at first I thought that's kind of cool. She has like this ridiculous necklace of her dog. And like if you were going to get like a big diamond chain, I think that would be kind of funny. Like, hey, it's my dog. This is what I love the most in the world. It's my dog. But then it turned out it was the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And then when she talked, she said, yeah, I know this would rub some people the wrong way, but I like being in the conversation of the greatest athlete of all time.
Yeah.
To which I would say that, no.
Of course she is, Fred, and she's going home with...
And what's funny is, like, I've had a couple people, because everything I say pisses people off, I guess by design. But it's funny because people have sent me videos of her doing, like, incredible things in gymnastics as if I was unaware of that. Oh, she's good at gymnastics. Okay. Not good enough to win gold or stay in bounds, for that matter.
Okay, her overall medal total now is 7 gold medals, 2 silver, 2 bronze. It ties the also great athlete of all time, Vera Kozlovska of Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, but if she wasn't Czechoslovakian, she'd be a household name.
For the second most by a female gymnast in Olympic history. She missed a chance to get that 5th Paris medal yesterday when she fell during the beam final.
Yeah, she didn't do so hot on that. So how can she be the greatest of all time? She hasn't even won the most amount of medals in her event.
Well, I think Tiger Woods is the greatest golfer of all time. He hasn't won the most majors. How do you explain that?
Oh,
Dominance.
my God, I can't.
Dominance, Fred.
I can't.
Dominance.
I can't. How many Cincinnati Opens has she won? Because that's really the Olympics of Cincinnati.
I mean, in fairness, Jack Nicklaus was playing against basically you for a lot of those majors.
No, we're gonna get down that road. Next thing you know, Felger will be calling in.
Oh, do you think he would? I heard he's a huge fan of the show. He's locked in.
Yeah, he likes that we don't just stick to sports. That's what he likes best about the show.
I bet he tunes in on YouTube every morning.
Well, he's discovered Dondero.
How about this Gabby Thomas from Northampton, Massachusetts?
Top 2 is a must to make it to the final on Tuesday. Ashley Smith is a phenomenal turn runner. She's already gone past Gabby Thomas, but you know that Gabby Thomas is going to have a response for her in the straightaway.
This is where Gabby Thomas is at her best. Down the home stretch, and she has easily cleared Ashley Smith. Gabby Thomas, top qualifier from semi number 2.
That is the 200-meter qualifier last night. Gabby Thomas from, as I said, Northampton, Mass. and Harvard.
Is he sure she actually won? This is the same guy who called the wrong winner of the men's 100.
The qualifiers that I saw last night, even I could call those.
Okay.
Yeah, with no need for
What
any
event
photo
was that?
finish. 200-meter.
200-meter running.
Yes.
Okay, good for her.
Yeah.
A Harvard runner. Is that's like Chariots of Fire style? Even though that wasn't Harvard, but that was like the Harvard of Britain. Was that Oxford?
Oxford, right?
Did you see Chariots of Fire?
I did in college, and I don't understand why. Because when I was a kid, there was a year where Chariots of Fire was considered like everyone was tripping all over themselves about Chariots of Fire, and then I saw it in college. They made us watch it in a class, and I thought, well, I'm glad I didn't see it when I was a kid.
Is it boring?
Oh yeah. Yeah, real boring. And I'm not just saying that. Like, it won Best Picture, and there's plenty of movies that win Best Picture that are great, obviously.
Distance runners, is that what they're doing in Chariots of Fire?
Yeah. And I to be honest with you, it was an evening class, so I wasn't completely locked into what was going on, but they run in the beach.
Top 10 distance running movies. Go. Only your top 10. Because otherwise we'll be here all morning.
Can I include bicycling? Because I could go Breaking Away.
Sure.
Where the townies show those college kids.
Sure.
So do you prefer Without Limits or Prefontaine?
Excellent.
Oh, Prefontaine, he gets up hungover and throws up.
Excellent question. Without Limits is the superior movie.
I would agree.
Prefontaine looks kind of cheap. I don't understand. It just doesn't look right.
It's supposed to look like the 70s.
Is that why?
Yeah, it was pre-fountains.
Oh, I didn't know what the name meant.
I mean, there was nothing to really hold over minorities' heads at the time.
What was the one about Terry Fox?
All right, that was a funny line. Pre-fountains, there was a time where there was nothing to hang over minorities' heads. Like, you can't use this one. Oh, please. I'm cooking at 6:51, and you're not giving me the acknowledgement.
Oh, no.
That's right, Tyler Milligan's cousin.
Who's back today?
Yeah, he is.
Good to see him.
Yeah, it is. It's good to see you. I'm cooking here. Come on.
Did you see that Terry Fox movie on HBO in the early days of HBO? The guy who ran across Canada. He lost a leg due to either illness or injury, but he decided he was going to run across Canada anyway. That was always on.
Well, when I first started trying to get in shape last spring or last summer, I got these. I told you, like, because I got that dog, I got to walk around all the time. I listen to a lot of books now. That's what I do. When I'm walking in the car, I listen to the radio. I listen to books generally when I'm walking the dog. And I went through this thing where I heard the Rich Roll book, and he's an endurance runner, so I like that. So then I listened to David Goggins, which is just funny, because his life lessons are run, and they're like terrible, terrible life lessons. Like that you'd be just absolutely miserable. The mental games you're playing with yourself and just like constantly crapping all over yourself. It's not good. I would suggest not following what the man says. It's not
An
healthy.
advice book in which you should follow none of the advice.
Yeah. His advice is almost counterintuitive. Yeah. Not that I'm to tell you that I'm any expert. From what I've gleaned from people I respect, it's not good advice. But then there is a book about a guy who ran across the United States, and once you've started reading about those. Like people that have done things like that, they've run, the equivalent of 2 marathons a day for like 3 months. And their feet are falling apart. They had to cut the shoes off. They had in the book where the guy runs across the United States, he has to get his toenails removed permanently because they become an issue. Like toenails are just not his friend. Then when you hear someone run the marathon, you're like, big deal. Like, these guys could run like 5 of them.
How do you decide to do that? Like, I'm just going to go be Forrest Gump for a few months. Just run across America.
Yeah, and then it's funny because you have to get it sponsored, and there was the guy who ran across America was in with this other dude, and the dude had to bag out because he got injured, and then the dude like pulled all this shenanigans, and he's a famous runner. It's a whole thing. It was actually interesting.
If I were really, really in shape and it was something that would even, you could consider even attempting, as crazy as it is, I think I would start to second guess it about 40 minutes in. Once you hit like that 5 mile mark, it's like, that's a good run. I don't know what I have to prove beyond this. What I set out to do what? Oh, God.
Yeah, you have 21 miles left.
Yeah. I haven't even gotten to my favorite Dunkin' yet.
I think that you can I think that you can will yourself almost to finish a marathon if you're in decent shape. But I don't know if but beyond that,
why don't you run all day and then get up tomorrow and run all day again?
Yeah, exactly.
And then 40 minutes. That's where I'd say this was a dumb idea. I'm turning back. One thing here on Matthew Judon. We're going to talk a lot about this later. But
Marshall Ulrich is the guy's name. Running on Empty was the
Lars. It's pronounced Lars. He's a drummer.
This is about his father.
Hello, Lars. You can do whatever you wish. Play tennis and the world will be yours, Lars. Lars, you will do all the interviews. And they won't let you in dismissal ball and you'll throw a fit.
Matthew Judon spoke yesterday about what he was doing before and what he was doing, but we're going to get into that a lot later.
Yeah, a lot later. Don't worry about it now. Someone's running for president, and they're killing all kinds of stuff. We'll have that for you in just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy. 90. WBZ-FM and HD Boston 98.5. The Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
A report last night from the Bay Area says the San Francisco 49ers have negotiated the framework of a trade that would send receiver Brandon Aiyuk to either the Patriots or the Browns. They've given Aiyuk permission to work out a contract with one of those teams. In order to finalize the trade, the Patriots would be expected to send Kendrick Bourne and draft picks to San Francisco. Cleveland's deal would offer draft picks and wide receiver Amari Cooper. Patriots will take to the practice field again today, open to the public, starting at 11 o'clock. Pats linebacker Matthew Judon did practice yesterday, spoke with the media as well, and said he does want to stay in New England, but he's leaving that up to team management to make a deal. Red Sox had 18 hits in a 9-5 win over Kansas City last night. Masataka Yoshida had 4 of those hits, including a pair of doubles. They will play Game 2 of that 3-game series tonight. Brian Bayo on the mound. Sox now a game and a half back of KC for the third wild card spot. Olympic men's basketball quarterfinals today. Germany is already through to the semifinals after beating Greece this morning 76-63. U.S. will take on Brazil at 3:30 Eastern time this afternoon. New England Revolution hosts Nashville in the final group stage match of the Leagues Cup. Kickoff at 7:30 right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Headlines are brought to you by the 99 Restaurants. Visit the Nines the day after the Red Sox win, and kids get a free meal from the kids menu with every adult entree purchased. You gotta love the Nines. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines in about 30 minutes.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 985sportshub.com.
Now, more Tuncher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Here it comes. Pressure on the DJ in that situation. All right, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. 617-779-0985 is the telephone number. And you can watch us on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. My daughter is here today. She is interning in quotations here for the yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And part of the reason is she very badly wants to meet Kendra Middleton, who's coming in today instead of on Thursday. And you're going to do the filming with Kendra today.
Oh, I meant to tell you I can't do it today.
Oh, really? It's a shame.
I need socks. And look, I've got these tiny little white quitters on today. And
listen, you're still a virile man. I can understand run through some socks.
No, that's unnecessary, Fred.
When you drop them, they crack apart. All right.
Do you have this? I think you have this.
I have it. So, have you heard about this presidential election? It's a real situation. Kamala Harris is now officially the Democratic candidate on the account of they had to get rid of the old one because he was old, and they had to finally go, oh yeah, he's really old. Sorry about that. We were trying to pass him off as not being so old.
So who's president now?
The old guy.
Oh.
And
for how long? Another couple
the old
weeks?
guy I voted for, but I'm like, why'd you lie? you trotted him out there like he was perfectly suitable in the first debate. Anywho. Regardless of that, there is a third-party candidate who these fascists aren't even letting get into the election, and there are people like Dickie Barrett, who's I consider a friend, who's desperately wanted to come on the show, but who does things for RFK Jr. and Robert Kennedy Jr. and he's very controversial.
I had a dream about Dickie Barrett last night. That is so odd that you brought that up just now.
Oh, well, look at that.
Yeah. Well, we ran into him again. My kids met him once, and he was really nice to my kids. And
you let him touch you? He doesn't have he's never been vaccinated.
Well, we ran this years ago. But in my dream, we ran into him again, and he was really nice again. What does it mean? Oh, Dream analysis. 617-779-0985.
All right, so Robert Kennedy, F. Kennedy Jr. is a third-party candidate for president. He's married to the lady from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yep.
And should I just let the story play?
Yeah.
All right, let's let this story play. This is what he's doing now.
I was taking a group of people falconing up in Goshen, New York, up in the Hudson Valley. And I was supposed to meet them there at like maybe 8 or 9. I was driving up maybe, really.
I can't understand what he's saying.
Well, the part of it is his voice. Part of it is the audio quality. But he is talking with Roseanne Barr, I believe.
Right.
So that
who's dressed like a 1950s housewife.
Yes. So that should explain the situation, Fred. I mean, I
Okay.
don't know if you need any more than that.
Okay, he's talking to Roseanne Barr on the Roseanne Barr podcast.
Yes.
No, this is just sitting like at the kitchen table. This isn't a podcast.
She
This
has
was-
a podcast.
Yo, I know, but this was just him posting this on social media.
Oh, so they're just having a chin wag and somebody was
Yes.
filming it.
Okay, very good. Because she does have a podcast.
Yes.
And Tom Arnold does have he's recovering from coke addiction.
I was taking a group of people falconing up in Goshen, New York, up in the Hudson Valley. And I was supposed to meet them there at like maybe 8 or 9. I was driving up maybe, really early, like 7. And that woman in a van in front of me hit a bear and killed it.
All right, so he was driving up to the upstate New York, and someone hit a bear and killed it.
Important to know what he was doing, where he was going to driving in upstate New York. He was going falconing, he says.
Yeah. That's why Wallach is gone, because Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has hired him to hide among his properties so he can go and find them. On the account of Wallach looks like a bird.
Falconing.
He was going falconing.
Yes, falcons. Yes, come to me, falcon. I have a leather sleeve on. Land upon my arm, for I am the falconer.
Come up with the weirdest, elitist blue blood activity to follow that up with. You can't top falconing.
There's
nothing.
There was a falcon at my son's baseball game on the top of a pole in Newton. And the guy goes, the coach of the other team goes, there's a falcon up there. And I went,
but he wasn't able to call it and have it land on him, right?
No, but I was unimpressed. I went, oh, good. Falcon, big deal.
There wasn't some weird inbred dude standing down the third baseline with a leather glove and a tiny leather hood to put on the falcon when it lit upon his arm. No,
You're blind. You cannot leave my arm, for I'm the falconer, and you are the falcon. Don't let them inject you with the poison. Falcon! Heed my words. Now I've killed a bear.
A young bear. So I pulled over.
A young bear.
It was a cub.
Okay, so he's behind a van, and the woman driving the van hits a bear, a bear cub.
Yeah, the woman in the van. Tom Goss.
A young bear. So I pulled over and I picked up the bear and put him in the back of my van because I was going to skin the bear. And it was very good condition. And I was going to put the meat in my refrigerator. And you can do that in New York City. You can get a bear tag for a roadkill bear.
Right, so he's like, my good fortune that these people.
We're having
hit this
dinner
bear.
tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna skin this thing. Don't worry. I'll take it. I'll skin the hell out of this thing, and we'll be having bear, which you're allowed to do in New York. I know off the top of my head.
Hey. Yeah.
Like,
a lot.
What cracked me up about that is it sounds like he's kind of worried that people might think he was breaking the law by doing this,
Yeah.
as opposed to the rest of the story that he's about to tell.
A lot of the United States royalty, or royalty anywhere, as the Kennedys are, do eat roadkill. I mean, you'd be surprised. His father, John F. Kennedy.
No, Robert.
I'm
Kennedy.
kidding. His father, Robert Kennedy. He was very famous for eating raccoon. As in Cambridge, that's why when you go to, there's so many raccoon pot pies.
They had a lot of kids, Fred. You know, you couldn't be expected to just go to the supermarket and pick up meat for all of them.
And ironically,
do what you got to do.
His daughter Kennedy from MTV is vegan. So apple fell pretty far from the tree.
And so then we went hawking, and I had the bear in my car. And then we had a really good day, and we went late.
What's a really good day of hawking?
So they picked up the bear on the way up there?
Yes.
And then they did their falconing and their hawking with the dead bear in the
bear
back.
sitting in the back of the
in the back
car,
of his Eddie Bauer Ford Explorer.
Yes.
Yes, but
the cargo area.
But he was going up the Falcon, and the Falcon and the Eagles and everything else that was up there is not going away. He's got the.
Hardy, you can't choose when good fortune lands in your lap. I mean, you just kind of take it as it comes.
I mean, he's with this woman who, at least fictionally, plays Ted Danson's wife, and he's very handsome. He's got to keep up his end of the bargain and go falconing.
Catching a lot of game, and the people really loved it, so we stayed late. And instead of going back to my home in Winchester, I had to go right to the city because there was a dinner at Peter Luger's Steakhouse.
Well, that's not the city. That's Brooklyn.
One would argue, wouldn't it have been better to invite everyone to your home for a big bear cookout that night?
For the bear.
Or how about this? If I had...
Especially because you've been out falconing and you have game, apparently, that you have taken in. So one would think that you'd want to get that stuff cooked.
But if I had bought like New York strips at the store, I wouldn't go leave them in my van for 8 hours and then drive to the city with them in my van.
You and your super processed food, buying New York strips. This is good, clean living here. That bear would be good back there for several days.
Well, usually roadkill does look good if you love maggots and rotting corpses.
Yeah.
Were you eating it or stepping in it?
Guys, forget about Luger's tonight. We're going back to eat bear at my house.
This guy can't get enough meat. This guy can't get enough of meat.
And at the end of the dinner, it went late, and I realized I couldn't go home. I had to go to the airport. And the bear was in my car, and I didn't want to leave the bear in the car because that would have been bad. So then I thought, at that time, this was the little bit of the redneck in me.
Yeah.
So much redneck in the Kennedys.
I mean, it really is. They're Appalachia.
I love the fact the bear's been in his car all day. He's like, I can't go to the airport and leave the bear in the car.
Yeah, and how many rednecks, are going to Peter Luger's in Brooklyn after falconing and then heading over to a private plane that they have to take? It's the redneck in me. You son of a bitch. Like that, what an a-hole. And I truly mean it. Like, F you redneck. Get out of here. There's no less of a redneck in the planet. Oh, my God. What a privileged life you've led. To the audacity
Fred,
to call yourself a redneck.
You don't,
with your house in Westchester that you just mentioned.
No, there's a whole clan of them. They're called the Hyannis Hillbillies. And what they do is they roadkill and they gather it up, and it's a subsect of the Kennedys, but he's one of them.
They wear camouflage sweaters tied around their neck.
There had been a series of bicycle accidents in New York. They had just put in the bike lanes, and saw a couple of people had gotten killed, and it was every day, and people had gotten badly injured. And so I thought, I wasn't drinking, of course, but people were drinking with me who thought this was a good idea. And I said, well, I had an old bike in my car that somebody had asked me to get rid of. I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike. It'll be funny for people. So everybody thought that's a great idea. So we went and did that, and we thought it would be music for whoever found it or something. The next day.
Look at this dead baby bear. Oh,
how'd this
it's
bear
like
die?
seeing Richard Pryor.
It got hit by a Schwinn at 15 miles an hour. Wow, obviously that's how it died.
Well, maybe one of those, rednecks that are in Central Park living off the land and inbreeding will be the ones that find it.
Kabba-dabba-doo.
It's not.
I like that.
So
I like that too. He's like I of course was not drinking, but I had friends that were drinking, and they thought it was a good idea. Well, what does that have to do with anything?
Well,
I have friends who,
if you're the sober one in the group, perhaps you should have thought better of this.
Well, that would be like I had two friends. They were so strung out on heroin, and they had no money that they started performing sex acts on all these guys for money. And I was like, all right. I mean, if this is what we're doing. Oh, I'm sorry, Tom Goss. I didn't mean to send out the bat signal to you.
it was like, it was on every television station. It was the front page of every paper. And I turned on the TV, and there was like a mile of yellow tape, and there were 20 cop cars. There were helicopters flying over it. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? And then there was some people on TV in tie-back suits with gloves on lifting up the bike, and they're saying they're going to take this up to Albany to get it fingerprinted. And I was worried because my prints were all over that bike. Luckily, the story died down after a while, and it stayed dead for a decade. And the New Yorker somehow found out about it, and they're going to do a big article on me, and that's one of the articles. So they asked me, the fact checker said, you know, it's going to be a bad story.
I think it's a great story.
Great story. That's a great story, Bob.
By the way, it ended up being like a paragraph and a half in miles-long story in the New Yorker. He puts out this video the day before the story drops because he wants to get ahead of it, and he tells the whole sordid story, but I'm not sure anybody would have noticed if he didn't say anything.
No, no one reads the New Yorker, and the people that read the New Yorker would be skeptical of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as well. And, you know, things are going to come out about you when you, I don't know, are running for president and buying ad time during major events.
So there is a photo of him with his hands stuck in the mouth of the bear cub. Maybe that's how they found out about it, because they took pictures, of course. You don't put a dead bear cub in the back of your SUV, go falconing, and then dump it in Central Park without taking a few keepsake snapshots.
But it was the redneck in him.
Yeah, it was the redneck in him. He also says maybe that's how he got his brain worm, because this happened 10 years ago, and he figures, and after that I got the, I don't want to say self-diagnosed parasitic brain worm, but that's not what one doctor told him. He went to, he kept looking for doctors until he found one that told me he had a brain worm. And
you got a dang worm in your brain.
You got a brain worm.
Oh, way to go, loser. You got a dumb worm in your brain.
State of New York also said,
why don't you just go fishing, stick your head in the water with that worm?
Statute of limitations has expired, so he can't be fined up to $250 for the illegal disposal.
That's it? $250?
$250, but that's what it would cost you back in 2014, but after a year, statute of limitations ran out.
Well, listen, I just Wikipedia'd the man, and I have to take back some of my offense of him calling himself a redneck, as he did go to the Georgetown Preparatory School.
Oh, okay.
In North Bethesda, Maryland.
That's
and
in
then
the sticks.
Went on to matriculate at Harvard, and then went to the London School of Economics.
Yeah, but it was Harvard's Alabama campus.
Yeah, exactly. It was their West Virginia campus.
Harvard Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. They were going noodling, Okie noodling the whole time. What'd you major in? Well, my degree says economics, but it was really sticking my hand in underwater caves to catch bass.
Noodling.
Frog gigging.
Look, the Kennedys are notoriously inbred. We just have money. We're like every other stupid hick family, but with a lot of money and influence and power.
Actually, you know what? There's something to that. Like, hillbillies are, you know, I'd say this from a line of hillbillies on the pool side, are often unfairly categorized as being inbred and moonshiners. Kennedys, accused of some close breeding and bootlegging. That's how they made their money. They're not too far apart.
The Kennedys helped found NASCAR? Is that what you're saying?
Joe Kennedy. That's how isn't that how he made all his money?
Yeah, bootlegging, yeah.
Bootlegging.
Yeah, eastbound and down.
Bootlegging.
Yep.
He's got a broad in the car that's kidnapping. Took her across the state line. That's the Mann Act. How's that for hijinks?
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking. Are we going to do what they say?
And you're going to have so much natural chemistry on screen that you're going to fall in love in real life. By the way, you got to feel good if you're
unrequited love, Fred.
If you got to feel good if you are Harvard University that you graduated the man and then he went on to fail the bar exam, and then charged with heroin possession in Rapid City, South Dakota, where he was on a huge meth binge and working at a state fair. Like every one of that's his hillbilly instincts.
He was doing heroin when he was like 15.
Eh?
That's hardcore.
And that's before like you could get it like all the pills.
Right.
That was before the opiate crisis. So there you go. Are you sober now? What are you gonna do? All right, there you have it. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Christopher Price is not running for president, but he loves killing stuff, and he will be on with us in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more Toucher. Tuncher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Christopher Price is, of course, the Patriots beat writer for the Boston Globe. He joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Christopher Price, hello, sir.
Hello, sir. How you doing this morning?
Ooh, he sounds good.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
I have this podcast set up in my studio. Chris Hogan and I do a podcast, and so we figured instead of doing the phone, we'd hook it up this way.
That sounds really nice.
Yeah, you're stealing my whole thing. Dulcet tones, King, we invented him.
You know, Chris Hogan used to play lacrosse.
I hadn't heard that.
He's an excellent podcast partner, by the way, for what it's worth.
Yeah. Because there's two kind of people, literally, in the world. People that aren't good at podcasts and people that are good at podcasts. Because literally everyone has a podcast. So that is
So
good.
you can categorize yourself quite easily.
Yeah.
You either have a podcast or you've been on one. Are you good at it or not? And you're saying Hogan's good at it.
Yeah, Hogan's
He's good at it. He's dependable. He's there every week, so we love him.
All right. Well, listen, the best ability is availability.
Bingo.
As they say in the podcast game. All right, Christopher Price, let's start with Matthew Judon. He spoke yesterday to the media. He wants a new contract. What are you hearing about that? How do you think this is all going to pan out? We ask you, I think we've asked you before, but where do you stand now?
Yeah, there's got to be some clarity to this or some sort of conclusion to this within the next week or so, whether he gets a new contract, they end up trading him, whatever the case may be. This is not sustainable long term. You can't have this situation continue to pop up every single week if you're or if you're Gerard Mayo and Elliott Wolf and Matt Groh, and you have to be able to kind of close this circle. And again, it either comes in the form of a trade or some sort of contract extension. I think before yesterday, the fact that he was on the field was reason for optimism. I think it was very, very real reason for optimism. But, after what he said yesterday, I think we're trending more in the direction of a trade, at least at this point.
So what did he say that makes you less optimistic? Because he was pretty forthcoming when he was talking about the money and what he wanted and what he thought he was worth. He even mentioned his, injury last year and how that didn't put him at the top of the market. What makes you pessimistic?
Yeah, it's just the fact that he came out and did it again. That he kind of reiterated all of the same points a week later, even though he was back on the field. Look, we know he really likes playing for Gerard Mayo. We know he likes the guys in the locker room, and he's comfortable here. And, any player over 30, I think, if you ask them, they would want to stay where they are, at least at this stage of his career. But for him to be able to come out and say those things again, I think that it just demonstrates really he just wants to move on. I do. I think he just wants to move on at this point in his career. And I think everyone would be happier if he did move on.
Why do you think the Patriots are playing such hardball with him?
That's a fantastic question, Ryan. It really is. I think that there's probably a couple of things at play here. I think, first of all, his belief in what he's worth may not even be in the same ballpark as to what the Patriots think because of last year. And it was just lousy timing, look, on his part that he got injured at, worst possible time and over the course of his career, over the course of the contract. I also wonder, and this is just, I want to stress this is pure speculation on my point. I wonder if the Brandon Aiyuk situation and the Matthew Judon situation are somehow connected because they're trying to work out money, basically. And look, if you make a deal for Aiyuk, you're going to have to extend him. You're not just going to get him for a year. And my guess is they're trying to figure out how that would look like in relation to what they're trying to work out right now with Matthew Judon.
All right, interesting. We can move into Brandon Aiyuk now. It has been reported that, Cleveland and the Patriots are the two teams. So San Francisco has given Aiyuk the ability to seek out his own deal and see if he can reach a contract agreement with the team that they would make the deal with. So Cleveland and the Patriots have that. The deal is Christopher Price, rumored to be what have you heard?
is some sort of combination of either Amari Cooper, if you're Cleveland, or Kendrick Bourne, if you're New England. And I have to imagine that it wouldn't be a straight up swap if you're New England, Kendrick Bourne for Brandon Aiyuk. Yeah. They would have to throw picks in. And look, if you're New England and you can make the money work, and I'm talking about like $25 million a year, somewhere in the Justin Jefferson range for 3 years, 4 years, and you don't have to give up a number one, I would do that deal in a heartbeat.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's so those are the two proposals, as I understand it, that are on the table right now. Amari Cooper is a better player, I think, right now than Kendrick Bourne. But if you're New England, you can sweeten the pot. Again, I wouldn't give up a one because, look, that's probably going to be in the top 15, maybe top 10 next year. And you could be looking at a Carolina Panthers, Chicago Bears type of situation. But if you added a 2 or maybe a 3 in there as well, I think that, you could start to talk about this thing becoming a reality.
So obviously Aiyuk has to, work out a contract wherever he winds up, whether it's Cleveland, New England, or anywhere else. Do you think he would be happy here given what the current quarterback situation is? Obviously, it would come with a boatload of money, but we know how receivers tend to be.
Yeah, I think I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that he would have to sit down with Mayo or Wolf, or obviously his reps are talking with Wolf, but he would have to sit down with Mayo and Alex Van Pelt, and there would have to be a level of understanding that, look, we're growing as a team. You're probably not going to be in the playoffs this year if you come to New England. So with that understanding, you need to reset your expectations. So yeah, I think, look, this is a guy who's always been really good over the course of his career. He doesn't have any character issues. He's known as a good locker room guy. And so you change the scenery for him. I don't know how he'd react to that, but given what he's done over the course of his career to this point, I think you would feel pretty good about bringing him in here, at least from that perspective.
Christopher, I have a question about the bringing him in. So you're not going to be good this year. You said yourself, top 15 pick is, I think, being optimistic. Probably top 10 pick.
Yeah,
but you're growing, and the way that you look at it, I mean, the third receiver taken in last year's draft, everyone's playing with themselves over in Chicago, and. So I know Aiyuk's very good. He's 26 years old, but you're going to be paying him an awful lot of money, and there seems to be 3 or 4 elite receiver prospects in every draft now. You do think this is worth the expenditure and the capital and all that? It's not even so much for what you're giving up. If it's like a second and a third, it's that you're paying the guy instead of getting a guy with 5 years on a rookie deal.
Yeah. And that, Fred, that's a great point, because from a team building perspective, it used to be, let's get the talented rookie quarterback on his first contract and fill in around him with all of these elite players, and then we'll figure it out down the road when the quarterback gets to a second contract. Now you're looking more and more at teams doing that with wide receivers. And if you're New England, based on what we've seen so far, you feel pretty good about your 2 young guys in Baker and Polk. And so you have to ask yourself, well, do we want to grow with those guys and take the chance that 4 or 5 years down the road that one of those guys is going to be a 1,000-yard receiver and he's going to want Justin Jefferson kind of money? So it's a balance, because you bring a guy like that in and you become a credible passing game almost instantly. But at the same time, you maybe hinder the development of someone like Polk, Baker, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and if you go earlier, and if you do something for Aiyuk, and you want to implement him even in the next year or two, you got to make sure that the offensive line is figured out. And from all indications, it is not figured out.
Yeah. Maybe you asked for Trent Williams in that trade as well, even though Williams is 36 years old. So yeah, look, they need to lock down that offensive line. And we talked about this before, that you don't want to put Drake May out there until everything around him is relatively perfect, not completely perfect. I understand that, but you want to make sure that the offensive line is locked in, and they're getting there. They are. Over the first 10 practices, it's starting to become clear, the 4 or 5 guys that they like. You want to make sure that that Polk and Baker and the rest of the offense can work well around that rookie quarterback. So yeah, look, the offensive line is absolutely paramount. They get a left tackle locked in this summer. Like if Caden Wallace, they feel good about Caden Wallace or a core 4, then you can start to see the offense kind of start to come together.
Along those lines, are they going to be able to put Drake May out there on Thursday night?
I think he's going to play a little bit. I don't think he's necessarily going to play a whole lot. The two guys I want to see at quarterback are Zappy and Joe Milton. You know what you have in Brissett. You don't necessarily know what you have in Drake May. And, I understand the trepidation with the offensive line being what it is. And I know that obviously this is a, first-year head coach, and we don't know his preseason tendencies like we knew with Bill, where, we knew Tom would play this much. We knew, for example, Brian Hoyer would play this much. We just don't know, at least at this stage of his coaching career, what they're going to do with Drake May. I would like to see him out there for a couple of series, but yeah, behind that offensive line, who knows?
I want to get back to Drake May, but just to the point of bringing in a veteran receiver, and I know this isn't every team, but Cincinnati took Burrow in 2020 with the first overall pick, and then 2021 they turn around with the 5th pick. They take Jamar Chase, and then they're in the Super Bowl. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are receivers available where the Patriots will be picking, but I just thought that was an example. And then it was. And how often does that happen to me, Christopher Price? So I had to say it. All right.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
All right. So Drake May, give us a rundown. I read you in the Globe, run heavy practice. Tell us about the quarterbacks, how they looked.
It's tough to it's tough to put the numbers out there. And I know my colleague Chad Finn wrote a little bit about this the other day, where you say, well, Drake May went 5 for 12, and all of a sudden people start to go, oh, he's a bust. Let's look to Joe Milton because he went 3 for 4 in 11 on 11 work. So it's tough to kind of drill down on the numbers. He's a rookie, and he's made some great throws over the course of the first 10 days of camp. He's made some lousy throws over the first 10 days. And it's a process. It's a long process. And they continue to feel good about where he is, at least at this stage of his development. But you're going to have crappy days like he had last Monday. I just have a problem taking that one crappy day and just kind of using it as a referendum on his overall development as an NFL quarterback. So I think he's good, and I think he continues to get better, but you're going to start the year with Jacoby Brissett under center for a few reasons, not the least of which that Brissett is steady, Brissett is capable, and you're not going to lose games with him back there as your quarterback.
I'm going to ask you maybe a dumb, simplistic, and it's a question in simplicity, but if you're a rookie quarterback, or just you're a quarterback on an NFL team, how much is, if you're going to play based on how you do in these public practices, like these outdoor practices, especially for a quarterback, like how much time is Drake May and Jacoby Brissett in the facility that you don't see them? Like the media doesn't see them. Like,
there's a whole block of time where we don't see what with walkthroughs and they talk about virtual reps and time in the film room, and it's what the public practices are, one slice of the overall development plan for for any player really. But you want to talk specifically about the quarterback position. It's just one part of it. And the other thing too is, and it's important to remember, in these public practices, it is not always delineated what's going on. Like, he came out the other day when he had that horrible day, that Monday where he went 3 for something, and we all wrote about how it was a rough day for the rookie. Well, they were working on, 3rd and long situations, and May didn't complain, but he kind of alluded to the fact that, look, 3rd and long is tough anywhere. It's tough for, it's tough for a rookie in the National Football League, a rookie quarterback in the National Football League, to be able to navigate that. The other thing too, and Jabril Peppers talked about this the other day, that he's going up against a defense that's full of veterans, that's been together for a really long time, that was a top 10 defense last year. And so maybe it makes sense in that context to grade him on a curve a little bit. But yeah, Fred, your ultimate point, I think, is a really good one, that it's only one small piece of the presentation for us. When he goes out for that 2-hour public practice, there's a whole lot of other stuff that's part of that conversation.
Yeah, just 20 hours of practice, and then they're like making the decision for a multi-billion-dollar operation based on that. Seems a little far-fetched. All right, Christopher Price, great stuff as always. Read him in the Boston Globe. He's got his breakdown of training camp every day and so on and so forth. Christopher, thank you so much for the time. We always appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. There you go. Christopher Price handing out praise to everyone, I think, equally today got praise.
I'm sorry, did anyone else get an outstanding question from from Christopher?
I don't know if the adjective was outstanding, but I mean, I did feel validated. But my point remains that it's very naive to assume that these coaches who are supposedly spending their entire lives like in breaking down film are basing these decisions on who's going to be their starting quarterback on how they performed in an hour and a half, 2 hour practice. Like I guess you could make a team, I suppose, look at another position or maybe even as a quarterback, but they got to be doing so much work throughout the other 22 hours of the day.
Yeah, they are, and I'm sure some of those things are include something that approaches like a game feel, but during those practices, especially when you see it in 11-on-11 stuff, there are guys who just seem suited to being out there, and some guys who don't. And guys who's Milton's going to impress with his arm strength, but on the shorter stuff, he's not. And some guys look like they're comfortable under center, and even just in a 2-minute drill, running the offense, and other guys look scared and lost. And we've got our first preseason game on Thursday night. At some point, they have to make the decision based on something, Fred, and whether it's they're taking everything into account or they're weighing more on what happens during those live sessions where there are people watching and there's a little more pressure on you. That's what a game is. More people watching, more pressure. How do you respond and how do you react to that? And you got to go with the guy who just looks like he's capable of handling the job. Not playing great, but just can you go out there and play quarterback at this level?
Yeah.
Can you handle it?
I also think that you know so much about the background of the guy and how he is mentally that you got to make your decision based on that as well. That I wouldn't play Drake May in the beginning of the season, no matter what. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub.
Hey, come on, Eddie. Top 10 Sammy Hagar songs. Come on. Eddie Trump. All right, we're Toucher and Hardy. We're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You know, my daughter is here. She's interested in the business. And so it doesn't have anything to do this week. She's going to New York with her mother on Thursday, but she wanted to come in Monday through Wednesday. So Kendra's coming in today because she's a fan of Kendra's. And they kind of, I guess, that she's a young female on the station, or a younger female on the station. She's quite a bit older than my daughter. But my daughter, the last 2 days, has gotten pancakes. And she told me on the way down to pick up the pancakes that young Nicholas, our own young Nicholas, and her got into a heated debate whether pancakes were bread.
No.
Now, I will tell you that my daughter was firmly on the side of they are not bread.
No, they are cakes. They're right there in the name.
Well, is there a yeast component to pancakes? You're the chef.
There could be. You could, I believe, make them with yeast, but most people do not.
Yeah. What makes bread bread? Because matzah bread is unleavened.
Not all bread has yeast.
I know it doesn't because there's unleavened bread. Believe me. I know. I find it every
quick
Passover.
Breads that use like baking powder.
Thank you.
Lift.
The quick AI answer is pancakes are a type of batter bread and are also considered a quick bread. Thank you, Ryan Johnston. Quick breads are baked goods that can be prepared quickly in the kitchen like muffins, scones, and coffee cakes. Pancakes are made from a batter of starch, eggs, milk, and butter and cooked on a hot surface.
Like a cat on a hot tin roof.
Pancakes are batter bread.
I want my money back. You said there'd be a cat on a hot tin roof. And there's not one dead cat in this son, bitch. I wanted to see a cat die of dehydration at least. Where is the hot tin roof? Yeah, believe me. If there's gelt or any kind of unleavened bread hidden, I'm going to find it. The kids are not going to stand a chance. I keep my eye out. I know where all the hiding places is. But sometimes be careful when you're looking for the Passover. At Passover or Yom Kippur, if you're looking for the hidden matzah, you might find yourself a gun.
What?
I don't know. I always just think it would be funny. My kids, forget it. It's Sunday or somewhere. But this
is a bit you've had in your brain for a while that's never come out?
No, but like if you go searching around people's houses, like you just find things. Like when I was a kid, my friend Jerry Stasnopoulos, his parents owned these restaurants. And we found one time we were like, because, you got bored. There was no internet. You couldn't play video games like with your friends. So we were going through closets and we found this big bag of cash with all these guns.
Oh.
But it was because they own a restaurant, a cash business, and they had guns. No, it was. Believe me, they don't need to. They don't need it. Now there were people in the empire, I believe, that went away, but nothing that they were doing. But then you would find porn. I mean, everyone that.
Porn was the thing that you could look for at parents' homes. I never found any in our home. Fred, I don't think you ever found any in your home.
No, it was so disappointing. Like nothing, not a Playboy, nothing. Yeah. Like it's amazing that my father was so non-sexual that he didn't even have a Playboy in the house.
Did you ever subscribe to any of those? You were probably a few years past the point where that would have even been a thing.
How about this? I've never bought a Playboy or
how many of them have you stolen over the years?
I've never stolen a Playboy from a store. I've stolen very few things in my lifetime. I stole the biggest thing I ever stole. I did as a goof, like when I really liked this girl, and I was trying to look like a bad boy to her. When I was in college, you'd be surprised how little things I've stolen. I haven't stolen a lot.
It was just the way that you said that you have never paid money for it.
Oh, no. Like for instance,
you were, slipping into the convenience store and grabbing a swank when no one was looking.
Yeah, I mean, and I told you, my best friend loves tangible, tactile pornography. Still, like in now the values are out of this world. Now you get like a bag and it's got like 55 in them, and so back when I would drink and we'd go out and drink. And then, we'd end up before they were done selling alcohol, you'd go into the liquor store and my friend would be like, don't mind if I do. They have a 5-pack of Hustlers. I'm going to take these home with me. But I never even bought them.
If you're going to steal one, it has to be because that was more of like a Reader's Digest sized periodical.
Or
and that one you
Hustler.
could easily slip inside the jacket.
Yeah, nothing was worse than going to a friend's house and seeing the cover of a forum and then going, ooh.
Oh, no.
Porn, and then it's just words.
No good.
Yeah.
No good.
Can't be doing that reading.
And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. If you're of a certain age, you can relate to this. The biggest torture was going into someone's basement, finding the Super 8 porn with no Super 8 player. Back when the dad loved pornography so much.
How old are you? Even
Super 8.
Even I never stumbled on any Super 8 porn.
Oh, you didn't? Like
No.
the reel-to-reel
No.
porn? Oh, yeah. Like a few times. And then it's like that microscope. Well,
How did you could you hold up the film and
like
see what it
just
was?
enough. Like well, no, it had a cover like the reel was in a box like with a porn cover. And then, like you could look and like make out that there was like people, but you couldn't see anything like well enough. We would get like a telescope. I mean, that's a day-long project once you found that.
I thought that format was reserved just for snuff films. I didn't know that you commercially available pornography
never
came on
did
8
actually get to see the film, so who knows?
We don't have a lot of time, but I'll break it down for you. So when my parents were born in 1942, so say that there were parents that were born in the 1930s. Say that in 1955, 1960, you acquired a porn. I mean, you're not going to throw it away. I mean, how much do you think a Super 8 porn cost? A lot, and they're probably rare.
Right.
And so, like, you're not throwing it away. I never found a Super 8 player, but I certainly found Super 8 pornography on at least 2 occasions, and I remember it being hell. But another bad thing was I had a friend whose dad owned a Chaldean kid. His dad owned a bunch of video stores, and he had too much pornography. Like, he had a closet full of porn, and then it was just like, why am I here? Like, this is too much. It's like too much of a good thing, and I'm with a bunch of other dudes, and I don't like this. And I'm not Zolak. It's a whole situation. It was more painful than anything else.
No, that's another situation.
I think you can put 2 and 2 together. All right, when we come back, we have the news.
You're listening to
doing it live.
This is Boston's home for sports. WBC FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Beasley Media Group station.
Sports Hub headlines.
Could the Patriots be getting ready to make a trade for receiver Brandon Aiyuk? Report out of the Bay Area last night says the 49ers have negotiated the framework of a deal that would send Aiyuk to either the Patriots or Cleveland, and have given Aiyuk permission to work out a contract with one of those teams to finalize the deal. Patriots would be expected to send Kendrick Bourne plus draft picks to San Francisco. Cleveland could offer up Amari Cooper as well. Meanwhile, Patriots linebacker Matthew Judon did practice yesterday, also spoke with the media, said he does want to stay in New England, but that's up to team management. Pats will hit the practice field again this morning starting at 11 o'clock, and it is open to the public. Kansas City Chiefs yesterday made Harrison Butker the highest paid kicker in the league, a 4-year extension worth up to $25.6 million. Close to $18 million of that is fully guaranteed. Red Sox pounded out 18 hits in a 9-5 win over Kansas City last night. Masataka Yoshida had 4 of those hits. Sox now a game and a half back of the Royals for the third wild card. Game 2 of the 3-game series is tonight. Olympic men's basketball quarterfinals. Germany already through to the semis after they beat Greece this morning 76-63. U.S. will take on Brazil this afternoon, 3:30 Eastern Time tip-off. And at Gillette Stadium tonight, the New England Revolution will host Nashville in the final group stage match of the League's Cup kickoff at 7:30 right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Headlines brought to you by L&F Electrical Services. Don't spend another summer suffering from the heat. Have a mini split system installed by L&F Electrical Services and keep your home cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Visit lfelectricalservice.com. Proudly veteran-owned and operated. That's lfelectricalservice.com. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. We got more headlines in around 30 minutes.
Let's talk turkey, shall we?
Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, in the sports industry, that's what you say.
Got your talking head right here, buddy.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Now, more Tuncher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
We interrupt this program for breaking news.
I can't use it.
Newsflash.
Hey, we're Tuncher and Hardy. 617-779-0985. Brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can find us on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. It's not really breaking news. It's just stories that people have found. Now, Hardy, what is the first story for the people?
A lost pet, Fred, and we can all relate. We've all, had a pet go missing, maybe only for a few minutes, sometimes for hours or even days. And this is something I think we can all relate to.
There is a missing pet roaming around Winchester right now, but it's no Fido.
Yeah, Winchester repping. Yeah, growing up in Winchester, I became a huge fan of Sabotage, the Sabbath album. That's Chris Rucker.
There is a missing pet roaming around Winchester right now, but it's no Fido. It's actually a red-tailed boa constrictor that has been missing since Tuesday.
Who cares? When I was in college, I liked this girl, and she worked at a restaurant, and she'd been given a snake by a weird fellow employee, and she's like, I don't want the snake. So I thought if I took it, that would make me look cool to her. It did not. And then the snake got out of the cage, and I forgot all about it. And legit, 5 months later, my roommate Gil put his shoe on, and what was in there but the snake, and it was alive. It had spent 5 months in his shoe. Those things don't die, baby. They're soaking in formaldehyde, those things. And then we tried to get it drunk by putting the mycidate in beer. That's how much we had to do on that particular.
Did that work? I was going to say, did it work? How would you know?
Yeah.
How would you know if a snake is drunk?
And there's nothing like sitting around watching a snake, trying to wait for a snake to eat the mouse. Because they just do it when they damn well please. So then you got a mouse and a snake for a while.
You want to see me feed a mouse to my snake? Yes.
Have you ever seen
Tulsa people, man? Good Topeka people.
Have you ever seen a boa eat a rabbit? It's actually sad, and I'm no hippie, but they squeeze the thing and it squeals and its eyes pop out of its sockets. They squeeze it to death, and you can hear the crunch.
How many times did you watch that?
A kid in my fraternity had a boa constrictor, and if he's gonna feed it a rabbit, what do you feed it every couple months? I mean, if he's feeding a rabbit, you're gonna go see him feed the rabbit.
So as sad as it was, you watched it more than once.
Yeah, it's probably 2 or 3 times. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but how many times have you seen Terms of Endearment? Sometimes you need a good cry, or Love Story for that matter. Oh.
Terms of Endearment doesn't get me the way it used to, but watching the end of Armageddon again over this past weekend, I just want to shake the hand of the daughter of the bravest man I ever met. Every time. Every single time.
I've never seen Armageddon.
It's not worth it.
It was my first date.
I've never seen Love Story.
First date with my now wife. We went to see Armageddon.
You went to the movies on a first date?
Yeah, well, I met her one night at a club. And then
you banged it out, and then you were like, we gotta do something where we're not talking.
No. How dare you? How dare you?
Okay. But that's just the first date was a movie.
Yeah.
A lot of times girls don't want to go to the movies.
It was 1998.
They went.
What else are you going to do?
Well, when you're with a chatterbox like me, you want to sit it down and just watch
a snake kill a rabbit. This is going to make you really sad. Watch when the eyes pop out of the head and you can hear the bones crunch. Look at it.
Yeah, yes, and then take it away. Step in it. It left a mess. Uh-oh. Where'd your shoes go? I don't know. I didn't hide them.
Not a great shot when you're struggling.
Thank you, Doris.
I haven't done Doris for a very long time. I had a guy yesterday asked me to make him laugh. I said, what's going on, Fred? Make me laugh. I said,
a guy on the street or a guy on the show? I don't remember that.
A guy on the street, basically. And I went, I thought I was doing a service. I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that to people. Don't do that to comedians. Don't do that to people. You can't.
Go to a comedian and say, tell me a joke.
Yeah, why don't you do some of your set for me?
Yeah.
Christian, go ahead. Christian, I need to hear you. Go ahead.
What's going on? So, I was just listening to your little, shenanigans with the snakes. And so when I was in college, I had a roommate who had about 15 snakes in his room. They were all in these little different boxes. And kind of like the shoe, they like being in those containers. So he literally has these small containers for all these different snakes. And one of them he had...
Was this at Yale or Princeton?
This was Montana State University, baby, in Bozeman.
Okay. There you go. All right.
It was,
so he had 15 snakes. Now, was he a weirdo?
He was a little... No, he was a really cool guy. I actually played fantasy football with him to this day. But, he would go through this routine, and it's a little less morbid these days, where he'd open up his freezer in the garage, and he would pick out a meal for each one of his snakes, which was a frozen mouse or a frozen rabbit. And he would then put this in the bathroom sink and let it thaw in the water in the bathroom sink until these things were, lifelike enough and fleshy enough and not frozen.
Yeah.
And then he takes little tweezers and he has to pretend that the mice are still alive. And so he'll play around with the mouse in the snake's cage until they find it appetizing enough to give it a big munch.
Can I ask you why he doesn't just give him the live animal?
This is a little bit more humane. Okay.
But I don't know if that's the case. I mean, how do they kill the rabbits and the mice before they freeze them?
He worked at a facility that mass-produced all these rodents specifically for snake and reptile consumption.
I'm sure all those rabbits and mice get a nice slow morphine drip and they just drift off to a peaceful sleep.
Kevorkian got all his... all right. Yeah, because, Christian, I'm calling into question if it's any more humane to feed the snake a dead mouse or bunny rabbit than it is to feed him a live one. I do have to tell you, though, I did not feel like bloodlust. I'm proud of my reaction. It was more of sympathy for the animal.
Yeah, it's balanced out by the fact that you watched it more than once. Though.
What you would have too. You can't
Once
pretend
you've
that
seen it, you've seen it. I don't think I would go back a second time.
That's kind of how I feel about
Shreves
it.
is feeding his python, and you're like, oh.
I already saw it.
Is that code for something else?
No, that's when he's feeding me his python. Is what that's called. That was this code word for that. Oh. No one else is around.
He's going to feed me his python who wants to watch.
Yeah. And then everyone would come in, and that made it not gay.
And then everybody puts $20 in a circle.
Yeah. Anyway.
Meet Kia, an 8-foot-long boa constrictor who isn't just a reptile, but a best friend to Wes Cartwright and his family.
Well, it's sweet they put this lady on TV.
She's really good, and I mean, catch her while you can now in this small market, because you can tell network is probably calling her right now.
Well, it's very nice that they gave her a shot.
You can tell by the way she pronounces the word a reptile in a home for a moment or two.
Yeah, just give her a shot. Okay. Make her feel good.
All right.
Including his 6-year-old daughter.
She'll actually laugh at everybody else who's scared of him because she's a little petite girl that, she thinks it's kind of silly to be scared. The snake is a pet just like a dog or cat.
But the Cartwright family has been left distraught after Kia escaped a cage, left home, and hasn't returned.
Escaped. Maybe it went out to get an espresso.
Why'd they name it after a Japanese car manufacturer?
Yeah,
name it Camaro or, Pontiac.
Snake's so affectionate for a best friend, too.
Yeah, it's just like a dog or a cat.
There is that thing in when you feed them the rabbit and stuff, or the mice, you can't have the scent on your hands. I suppose that's why the guy said his friend used tweezers. Because they'll just start crushing you, and there's nothing you can do. If those big pythons, once they start, you let them on your neck, it's very unnerving when they start tightening up because there's nothing you can do about it. You're not pulling that thing off of you.
I hope I never find out. No, you keep your snake.
Well, you can't act like a puss. I mean, if they put it on your neck, you got to let it on your neck.
No, you don't. Don't put that thing on my neck.
Yeah.
That thing doesn't have shoulders. Keep it away from me. That's my rule. No shoulders, no touch.
See, as an alpha, you're always being tested. People are always testing you, and you got to pass those tests.
So it must be a nice beta boy to go through life with never being tested.
What? Say it again. Say it again. Say it again, prick.
But this actually isn't her first time.
I rescued her from the Lexington Humane Society. She was found going across the street in the neighborhood over there. So she might be a little bit of an escape artist, I think.
She was last seen here on Hood Avenue from a residence Ring doorbell camera.
A residence Ring doorbell.
Just take your time. Take your time. No need to rush through the words.
So is the assignment editor said this story has to be a minimum of 2 minutes. I've got 40.
This is the verbal equivalent of stretching out your term paper to, triple spaced. And
40 seconds a copy. Just read
on
slower.
his Ring camera, and Ring cameras are activated by motion.
Just slithering across the road. So now the town is searching for their beloved pet of 2 years. Police, neighbors, and even some furry friends have joined the search. Cartwright says she could be in anything from vegetation and trees to under a front porch.
Wow.
So they brought the experts in.
It's existing.
So Fred, the video is outstanding because although the guy is wearing a Titleist cap, so if you play golf, you're my friend.
Right.
They are poking around these front yards, and they're all just crap. They're all just overgrown and just crap thrown out there. Old lawn chairs tipped over, and he's just poking it with a stick. He's just going through, poking at the weeds and the leaves with a stick and kind of kicking at it. And that's the footage they got. And it's like, this is my front yard. That snake could have been lost in your front yard for 6 months. Why don't you take a mower to that thing?
Well, I asked my neighbor, and I said, Keith, what do I do? And he said, burn the sumbitch down. He said, just light everything on fire, man. Uncover that sumbitch. It's probably hiding in a tree, a grass, even under a porch. Light it all ablaze, man. Hell yeah. How much insurance you got on that? Enough to keep us high for a week. Get me my blowtorch and supplies.
My main concern is her getting hit in the roadway. Somebody just thinking it's a stick running over her.
Yeah, you dumbasses, you inconsiderate morons. That's no stick. That's a damn snake.
And residents of Winchester have expressed their concerns on social media. Many worry to leave their pets.
Yeah, but along with other things, like denying the Holocaust.
Many worry to leave their pets outside due to the large reptile roaming around. But Cartwright says he hopes to change people's perspective on snakes through this search.
She's very gentle. I sit on the couch and watch television with her in my lap. She's not going to hurt anyone. Your pets should be safe. Your young children are definitely safe. Just if you see it, make sure that you make the appropriate phone calls.
Yeah, I'm trying to change people's minds about people accused of aggravated assault, but let them loose.
I do like the concern for the residents, though. They are concerned because in 2 short months they will have to leave their homes to vote because they do not trust the mail-in ballot. And if the snake is still missing, this could present a problem.
Yeah.
Here's the update, Fred. Kia has been found safe.
Oh, that's great. That's great news.
Thank heavens.
The snake was found behind a wood pile in the back of a home on Hampton Avenue.
Yep. It came out of the toilet, and then it came out of me. I found it in my toilet. Oh, it must have got in the sewer system. Oh, no. No. Like I said, I found it in my toilet.
Case closed.
Case closed. What in the dickens is up in me? All right, very good. Well, that's exciting. Matthew Judon, he spoke. Kendra said it's gonna take her 80 minutes from her house
to
get here. That's almost a midday show situation, but she will be here in time. Don't worry. Matthew Judon talked yesterday, and he had a lot to say. We talked to Christopher Price about it. We'll hear it from ourselves in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy. Hardy on the Sports Hub.
I was just looking at my email, and apparently there is, if you're listening to the stream of the show, there is a very, very long commercial that a lot of people are enjoying.
They really seem to like it.
So, again, the scene from City Slickers where Billy Crystal's job is to sell ad space on the, like he's I guess he's a salesman, but maybe he was in traffic even.
No, he was in sales.
Okay, because he sold the spot.
He said I sell air.
Oh, okay,
Like that was his show.
okay. Because they have that pizza commercial. That's the only time I laughed at that movie. And it seems like the Beasley Corporation is very much like Billy Crystal. Maybe you should vet these ads if they're going to aggravate our audience to the point of several of them emailing on the same day. Is it maybe change things up, put some music behind it, cut it down? I don't know what you have to do, but it's not doing good.
Yeah, someone needs to vet those things a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
All right, Matthew Judon is not. He's old. He is in the last year of his contract. He, was very vocal and demonstrative in a practice to Elliott Wolf and to Gerard Mayo. Then he came back, and then he put pads on the other day, and Hardy, he talked after practice yesterday.
Yeah, starting with what happened with that very vocal display at the practice last week.
We wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't ask you what happened last Monday from your perspective.
I believe that was Mike Reese.
Yeah, he said, we wouldn't be doing our job, buddy.
Come on, we got to ask.
We had a conversation. I didn't want to be a distraction to the team, so I went inside. I wasn't participating in those drills that day, so I went inside, and then I got a message, so I came back and talked to our GMs. Then I went back inside.
Our GMs.
Yeah.
Our GMs.
Yep. There's a few.
Sorry, I'm animated. I talk with my hands, where that's I'm gonna start talking like this and not be so animated.
No, but in all seriousness, just trade him. You have no use for him this year. Trade him. Get rid of him. He's wasted here. He don't want to be here. He don't want to play for this team. He doesn't. He's getting old. He wants to be on a better team. He wants guaranteed money. He wants more years. This is not a guy that you should give more money to or guaranteed years to. Trade him.
Well, you gave him additional guaranteed money last year, and he made it through a quarter of the season. And, you basically handed him millions of extra dollars that he would not have gotten last year, and he's rewarding you by coming back and trying for the same thing again.
But I understand his perspective on it. Like, he's at the point of his career where he needs to get paid, and probably the understanding was that he was going to get more, or, now's the time for an extension. He's not doing this on his own. He's obviously being advised by an expert in the field, by an agency.
So I saw Andrew Callahan on NBC Sports Boston last night, and he said his take on it is Judon has an unrealistic ask here. Either he's asking for way too much money for 1 year, or more likely he's asking for an extension that will basically get him to retirement, something in the 3 to 4 year range. And the Patriots aren't going to do it.
No, nor
and if you're
should
not
they.
going to do it, you know that by now.
Yeah, and so I would, first of all, just to get, when we talked earlier in the show to Christopher Price, and he's like, you can't have this hanging over your head. And with a young team, a new coach, a team that's not going to win, what do you need a 32-year-old pass rusher for? Just get rid of him for anything. It's addition by subtraction in terms of culture. They obviously feel that way because they've kept other guys. I mean, they've kept defensive linemen and not kept him. They've given guys new deals. They obviously, there's a problem there. Just let him go.
So what Price also said in that interview, though, this morning was, it could be tied to the Aiyuk situation, that they're trying to keep as much money freed up in potential, to pay Aiyuk, and then they'll give Judon essentially the leftovers once that deal is done, or if that deal gets done.
Yeah, why that's interesting to me is that it just, if that's true, it shows how interested in Aiyuk they actually are. But beyond that, Aiyuk or no Aiyuk, I don't. They should have signed him in the first place, and he's been very good. But it was a bad signing when they got him because he was in his late 20s, and you weren't going to win anything with him. And now it's just ridiculous. Now, just get something in return. Don't cut him. Get something in return. Aiyuk's 26 years old. I understand that, even though I don't. I mean, especially if you're not going to play Drake May this season, just draft the kid in this upcoming draft. You'll be able to get one of the best receivers on the board, who there's no reason that kid won't be elite. So, but
they did talk a little bit about terms.
Matthew, in addition to money, is years on your contract a big sticking point right now?
I only got 1 year left on my contract, so it really don't matter.
Do you want more? The team, is that a sticking point?
Well, I told y'all I wanted to stay here for the rest of remainder of my career. So,
why?
I mean,
why the hell do you want to stay in Rhode Island for the rest of your career on a losing team? Like, they're not going to win during your career.
So, I mean, obviously that would equal more, but I only got 1 year left. So, I mean, I think with more years will come more money. That's usually how a contract works, but it's not up to me, y'all. Like, I be telling y'all, bro, they come out here every day. Y'all just don't ask them questions. Y'all be asking them questions, so y'all gotta.
Huh?
He's saying that the GMs do not get asked questions.
They're out there every day?
They're out there on the practice field every day, but they do not necessarily meet with the media every day.
I was unaware that the general manager of the team was required to meet with the media every day.
Judon, maybe he's expecting Mike Reese to holler across the field to.
Or maybe Reese should just negotiate for him. I mean, that could be a good idea. Just have Reese go down there and negotiate the whole deal for him.
I do like how he approaches the social media question.
Can I ask you for a clarification on the tweet? I know you've said in the past you don't always run your Twitter account. But
We're not going to talk about no social media. Go ahead.
No. No.
That's the Tony Maserati approach. You treat Twitter like a Molotov cocktail. You just throw something out there and then run away.
Well, that's more for responses from, AI and, people hiding behind fake names and everything. I don't know if it's for the media. I mean, you're obviously trying to get a message out there. The best thing about Judon's Twitter account are the failed attempts at getting free agents to sign with the team. That's always amused me.
Yeah, we clarified if that's him or his, whoever his social media person is that's been trying to recruit other people.
Yeah. So he wasn't at practice. He was there, but he wasn't practicing. Now he's practicing. What happened? What happened?
Two more questions, guys. Two more questions. Why did you participate in practice on Monday and Tuesday last week? What changed to have you start participating in practice?
I had something going on with me.
Well, now
what changed to get you to participate in practice? Matthew, what changed?
I had something going on with me.
Oh.
Okay.
Guys, I'm going to sit out the rest of this show. I've got something going on with me.
Oh, well, that's all you have to say.
Well, who am I to pry? I mean, listen, if you got something going on, just you go about your business.
Did you make an offer?
On a recent podcast, you shared that you made an offer to the Patriots, something you felt comfortable with. What was that contract?
It's in my notes. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but.
Okay. So
it's on the legal pad.
You made an offer, a contract offer to the Patriots.
It's in my diary.
Yeah, 4 years, $25 million. 20 guaranteed. Well, I mean, that's not hard to remember.
Somebody asked me, was I in a good mood? I'm always in a great mood. You already know that. So, but I don't remember. It's in my notes, though. If I have my phone, I'll show y'all, but I don't.
I don't remember.
Well, I'm glad he's not bringing his phone to practice.
How detailed was the offer? It's generally years, money, and guarantee. There's three things you got to remember. It was your own idea, your own offer to the Patriots.
Excuse me, I'm going to negotiate this deal myself. I'll have to refer to my notes in my phone.
Right, the Notes app.
That's right. This is to buy milk. That is not it. I will move on to the next note. It doesn't seem like a sophisticated bargaining situation when there's tens of millions of dollars on the table.
At this point, too, you said it earlier, Fred. And Ryan, the mood and the attitude that he has around this young team. Like, okay, I don't think it's going to make a ton of difference for this season. He's still a good player, and if healthy, yeah, he's going to contribute, and he would add to this team. But this holdout, this hold in, whatever is going on with it, no.
Granted,
I don't. At some point, you just say it's not worth it.
Granted, they are, the Barmore situation makes this a little bit different, but your defense was good without him last year. Like, realistically, is he the difference between you winning or losing any single game this year?
Even if he is, who cares?
Probably not. And that's even the greater point. The Barmore situation changes that. But what, 3, 4 wins, 5 wins? No, I'd rather have them not.
He's not part of the future of this team. When this team is going to be good, he's not going to be a part of it.
Right.
If you hope this team's good in 3 years, he's not going to be a part of the team. He's not going to be an effective pass rusher in 3 years. He's going to be an old, and if he's still in the NFL, situational guy who comes in from time to time. So, and he won't be worth his contract. If I'm Judon, I'm not practicing. If I'm Judon, I want to get moved. And I understand his point. And if I'm the Patriots, I want to move him. So the whole thing is ridiculous. Just let both parties are right. It's one of these odd situations where I understand both points. And I don't just trade him. Trade him for anything. If you can get something back for him, make up for the mistakes of what Belichick did by signing him in the first place and not trading him when he had his floor was higher or his value was higher. And people are like, well, you can't trade him now. He's a distressed asset. Oh, yeah, you can. You trade him now. Well, wait till the trade deadline. No, I trade him now. I trade him now, right now. I get him out of there. And for his own sake, too. I don't think he's doing anything wrong. I just think that he wants more money, and it's a situation that the Patriots would be foolish to do. Another team that's on the cusp of winning, like a Dallas, who's had injuries at the position, I mean, sign him. He'd be very effective and probably a lot happier. You know, you get to play for that McCarthy fellow. He seems to have it all together. You know, you could play for Belichick next year again. It could be a big full circle. All right, Kendra Middleton is here. My daughter seems over the moon with this as she scrolls through her phone. Do you have the words? Did you talk to her? All right, now they're talking. Now they're having a conversation. This is okay. I'll stop talking about you. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots, one of two teams.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. We are in the brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. We played a 311 ad. They're coming to town, and Dan jokingly said, like, you should have them in studio. And I've entered.
They're in town. They'll be here tomorrow, Fred. Come on.
My bad. They're nice guys, but I'm going to ask you a question. If you, and everyone feel free. Kendra Middleton is in here. My daughter's in here, and she's always wanted to meet Kendra. And I swear to God, my daughter has never been this starstruck in her entire life. She's like legit, like starstruck in front of Kendra, and she's very she's like nervous around Kendra, which is my daughter's usually very outgoing and everything. This is very powerful stuff that we're witnessing right here. But here's the deal: if 311 were in studio, and I said to them, and I have two questions. If I could go back in time, I'd ask them, because when I interviewed them, I never asked them this. Would be one, I would ask S.A. Martinez, the man whose only job in there is to rap, if he ever feels self-conscious rapping, because he's really, here's how I'd word it. Did you ever feel self-conscious rapping, and do you ever, like when you're playing the old songs, like go, oh, I wish I maybe wrote these rhymes a little differently. And then the other thing I would ask is it ever embarrassing doing patois? Like you do patois in your songs. Like, do you wish you could go back and not do that? Now, would that be considered aggressive interviewing? Would that be considered mean?
What are we talking about? 311?
Yeah, yes. You're talking to someone else. I don't know what you're talking to Dan.
Well, yeah, but I don't know what this has to do with Kendra.
It doesn't. We just played.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry you weren't listening.
Yeah, it's called stalling, Hardy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, I don't know. No, it
well,
wasn't
then you looked at me. I'm like, I didn't.
Well, no, I assumed you were listening. Don't look at me like I'm the a-hole. I assumed you were listening to what I was saying.
He was not.
What was going on between the two of you?
Generally, I do try to listen to you. So I don't think it's fair to paint me with that broad brush.
What was going on between the two of you?
We need the buzzers.
All right, we're not doing it. So we're
not doing any of it.
No, we're not doing any of it. So
cancel the buzzers.
Yeah, you don't need buzzers.
Would it be considered aggressive to ask him that? Yeah, because I think it's a very critical question, and it's an artistic choice that they made.
It's at the foundation of the whole band.
It's the
literally for 30 years.
Their phoniness is at their foundation.
Okay, why are they not being canceled then? Because my question is this: is that if I went and
no one cares enough?
Well, that's true. Yeah. But like if I went, hey, all of a sudden I'm a Bollywood actor and I'm going to mimic the actors in Bollywood, I would be canceled. So why can you fake in Jamaican?
So they've grandfathered in 311's cultural appropriation?
But it is cultural appropriation.
We've seen this over the years, though. Different cultures and different things. There's like a scale of who gets, treated poorly the longest.
Gets called out.
and it's like, obviously, there's nobody doing blackface anymore. C. Thomas Howell did it in our lifetimes.
Yeah, but that was the message of that movie. Still resonates. Which is like, lay off the black people so much. They got a little rougher than you knew.
Would they do that?
You take tanning pills and you're right there with
Would they make that movie now?
Yeah.
You think they would make Soul Man now?
Yeah, it would be like the antithesis of Tyler Perry would be for a white Southern audience. They could just put it. They could put on plays.
Radon Chong was a delight in that film.
Yeah, she was a little too critical of him when she found out he wasn't really black and he'd been faking it the whole movie. Are you aware of the movie Soul Man, Kendra? Here's the movie. Do you know who C. Thomas Howell is? You tell us if they could make this today as a representative of your generation.
Good. Okay.
Here is
I'm going to go with no.
Well, see, that's the problem.
Can you hear the treatment first, please?
You can't. You don't listen. You make snap judgments.
I think it's appropriate that she sees a picture of C. Thomas Howell before you explain the plot of the movie. That's who we're talking about.
Okay, is that him in Soul Man that you're showing her?
No,
or
I'm
just
showing just him in another film.
Did you ever see The Outsiders?
I read the book.
I see Hinton is a gem. Did you ever read Rumblefish?
No. Shocker, I know how to read. Crazy.
Wow, someone put on the martyr hat today.
Oh my God.
Like I was judging you.
There's C. Thomas Howell and Soul Man.
Okay.
Okay, so what the premise of Soul Man is C. Thomas Howell, he's had enough of affirmative action. He can't get into college.
Not true.
So that is absolutely true.
He got into Harvard, but his father wouldn't pay for it. His father was rich, and he said, I'm not paying for this. You figure it out on your own.
My bad, because the point of what I was saying would have been totally lost. But for those who are very critical, you're right. Okay, so yeah, so his father says, screw you, I'm not paying for college. So he says, well, I got to get a scholarship. And they said, you can't get a scholarship. And he goes, well, what if I was black? And then so he goes and he takes all these tanning pills and he turns himself black. He puts on a curly wig and sunglasses like blacks, with the sunglasses, which was a very 1980s way of representing being black.
How they are.
Because, I'll give you two examples. The Blues Brothers and Jim Belushi doing the white guy thing. Anytime back when I was a very young man, like 6, 7, anytime white people would rap, they would put on a fedora for some reason and sunglasses. Like all the rappers. LL Cool J, very famous for the fedora.
I think Joe Pesci did it too when he put out his rap song.
He did, didn't he?
He put out an album.
Yeah. All right, let's not get too down the path. So he takes these tanning pills, and then he fakes that he's black, and he goes to school, and in the time he joins this black student association, and he realizes it's all about prejudice, and he falls in love with this girl. She falls in love with him, and then newsflash, he finally feels guilty. He admits to her that he's not really black, and then she gets mad at him for about at least 10 minutes of the movie.
It's a very dramatic scene, Fred, and it's at Harvard Law, and they're presenting a case. His roommate is actually defending him in a way, and then there's the big reveal when he comes into the lecture hall, having stopped taking the tanning pills and the wig is off, and he is revealed to be a white. And that is the big reveal, the big dramatic reveal.
Yeah, I'm going to go with no, you could not make that movie.
Even though there's a great lesson at the end.
There's your answer.
I think that I get the idea of where they thought they were going, but you could definitely not do that.
I think the problem would be when he first makes himself a darker skin color, his attitude in the way he characterizes his belief of how black people behave. That's really, I think, where the problem area, when they shoot for the comedy aspect of it.
Well, when he shows up at the Black Student Alliance meeting in the full garb.
Yeah, like a Black Panther garb.
Yeah. That's a problem.
Isn't there a basketball situation too? I believe.
I think so.
Yeah, they hit all the high notes. So Kendra, to answer, we're on the same page. I believe that they could not make that today.
How did we get here?
I don't know.
311.
311. They ran a 311
Weren't
commercial.
you listening?
Yeah, but I was running into the elevator.
Kendra thinks that I am always trying to trap her into talking about things she doesn't know. You get
Don't
very
put
defensive.
Words in my mouth.
You get defensive.
I don't get defensive.
Let's talk about Spring Woozy. You're going to go see tonight.
Still Woozy, yeah.
Still Woozy.
Yeah. I'm going to see a band in Portland tonight.
Is there anything?
They're actually pretty cool. So they're a band. Their bassist is a female, but the lead singer's wife does all their artwork and stuff. They're cute.
Oh,
yeah.
well, I bet they are good.
They just had a baby together. They're cute. It's a good band. If you haven't listened,
They
to
must be a
Woozy,
good band if that's the backstory. She does the art for them, and they had a kid.
Cute. They're just cute. I don't know. It's a good.
They sound
like every great band.
They sound like a jam band. Still Woozy.
They kind of are a little jammy.
Oh.
All right, here is Chad. He has a good point. Chad, go ahead.
I'm curious. This isn't a racial tone movie, but it's a classic from I think the 80s with McDreamy. Kendra, are you familiar with the movie Can't Buy Me Love?
No.
Okay. This movie I know like the back of my hand. So Patrick Dempsey, you know who he is, right?
Yes.
He's handsome.
Yes.
Well, not with glasses on. So he plays a nerd who mows everyone's lawn. And he was going to buy this telescope because dorks like telescopes. Now, Cindy, who is the least hot of all her friends, but somehow the alpha in the group, Cindy Mancini pours red wine all over her mom's suede outfit at a party. The mom said, don't wear it. She's got to get it cleaned. It's going to cost like $1,500. Kendra, how much is the telescope that Ronald Miller...
$1,500.
$1,500.
Nice telescope.
So Ronald Miller says, I'll give you the $1,500, but you got to pretend to be my girlfriend. So they go to school. She pretends to be his girlfriend. He develops into very popular. She starts to like him, but he breaks up with her. He literally bangs her friends. Then she outs him drunkenly at a party that he paid her to be her friend.
As she should.
He is ostracized.
Sounds like something you would do on Instagram.
And then at the end of the movie,
Don't make me mad, Artie. I'm in control of your Instagram fate today.
at the end of the movie, she gets on the back of his tractor and literally off into the sunset there.
And then she gets chlamydia from the tractor.
No, that's Seinfeld.
Oh.
But in real life, she's a mess, and I think dead. But Cindy Mancini. But they could make that today, couldn't they?
Probably.
Yeah, I don't think paying someone to be your girlfriend, because he's not paying her for anything physical.
That Jennifer Lawrence movie just came out where the kid's parents paid her?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I saw that in the theater with Zoe, my daughter.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was good.
It
She's
looked
funny. I actually
funny.
like Jennifer, whatever her name is.
You
a lot after
love
her.
them Mockingbird movies, the Hunger Games.
She's naked as a jaybird.
I know. I watched it on a flight and I had to turn it off because I was really uncomfortable.
Yeah, she's like full frontal nude in a fight scene that's actually
On the
comedic
beach,
fight scene.
yeah.
And she's full frontal nude like a lot. All right.
Like a Viking.
Okay, question. Are you guys comfy watching like PG-13 R-rated movies on flights when there's like, saucy scenes?
No, I'm not.
Me either.
On the on the screen in front of me?
Yeah.
But not like on my own device?
Yeah, because they offer them and you never know what you're going to
Yes.
get. So I watched that movie not thinking that there would, be some yiddies on my screen.
I'll watch it on the airline issued screen because that's their fault, not mine.
Yeah.
If you have it
it's weirder
available.
if you're watching it on your device.
If you're watching it on your device, it's your responsibility because you know you've got
and
it.
you chose it. Yeah,
and you
and
chose
it makes
it.
you look like a freak.
All right. Are you excited? This has got to make you feel good that there's someone this excited to meet you.
You just didn't have to air her out like that.
Oh, please, air out. Oh, get out of here. Trying to get between me and my lady. Please. How dare you? All right. So we'll be back in just a moment with the Kendra Middleton.
Toucher.
What's the thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here. 98.5. The Sports Hub. Now, more Tuncher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. And we are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. And there are two women in here. My daughter and Kendra Middleton. And they are here. And my daughter told me my hat did not match what I was wearing. So now I had to take it off. So now everything's ruined. I've been on YouTube this whole time. Not matching.
I did a very subtle match today with the maroon Jim Blossom's T-shirt that matches the maroon hat. That is very calculated.
Yeah, that's almost like in Boomerang when the lining of the jacket matches.
You got to coordinate.
Yes, that's right. Well, careful. So Kendra Middleton is in here. And Kendra, right now, the Serbian team is taking on the Australian team.
Yep.
There are two names I recognize on Serbia and two names I sort of recognize on Australia. Now, what are you feeling today in terms of, or in the coming week with the Olympics? What do you like?
So I have been pretty basketball heavy this whole time. Had a really good Olympics so far. I gave you guys some futures a couple weeks ago before everything started. I was really heavy on Australia as far as long shot odds and Germany on long shot odds. I thought that there was a little bit of value at the time before the tournament getting in on the USA, just because that was when they had kind of struggled against South Sudan and Germany and all of the pre-Olympic stuff. I still do think that the USA should win a gold, but there has been a market that has opened up on FanDuel. Most of the time you can't specifically bet on if a team is going to win, silver or bronze or gold or something like that, but there has been a market that has opened up for basketball. I put a little bit of money on Germany to win the silver, and I think I'm going to put some money on Australia to win the gold. I gave you guys those long shots early on. I think that France has struggled way too much. Hardy, I think that you were pretty high on France, weren't you?
I thought maybe they had a chance. I mean,
They're big, right? That's the thing with France.
Yeah, and if they get some solid matchups down the stretch, like they're going to play Canada, and I think that Canada is probably the only team that matches up against France with the way that they're playing that it might be trouble for Canada. And after we saw the refereeing in the Japan game, do I think that...
All right, explain, because I did not see the refereeing.
So France absolutely should have lost to Japan. Absolutely. It was a totally home refereeing job. It was actually awful. Like,
really?
Yes. France should have lost to Japan.
What happened?
There was like a really crappy 4-point foul call that wound up pushing it into overtime, and it just Rui Hachimura got ejected. Like it was just an absolute crap show. Why
is France so bad? Is Japan can't be any good, are they? They don't have pros,
There's a guy for Japan who I think is like my height, 5'6", and just was shooting the lights out of the three. I don't think it was a bad matchup. I just don't think that France is playing good basketball right now. But I do think that they match up well against what Canada has been playing. And so do I think that Canada is the better basketball team right now? Yes, but because of what I've seen as far as this, tournament, I'm probably going to put money on France to beat Canada just because I think that there is... You guys know that I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist with these things.
Well, all gamblers are.
Yeah, you kind of have to be. Like, it is what it is these days in sports. So do I think that Canada's the better team right now? No, but I do think Canada's the better team. I don't think France is, but I'm probably going to put money on France to beat Canada because I like the matchup and I think that there is a little bit of an inside job going on. So do I think that France could medal? Yeah, but I don't think that the value is quite there. I did have Australia to cover 3.5 points today, so that's looking pretty nice. My big question mark with the USA as far as gambling, are you guys betting on the USA basketball at all?
I mean, there hasn't been any value.
Exactly. And that's the thing is that they haven't really been covering these big numbers, and Brazil's not a great team. I think it opened at 27.5. I think you can probably get it at 26.5 right now. But the question mark is that we don't really know who these starting lineups are going to be. It feels like Steve Kerr is kind of making these lineups projected on who they're playing, and it's like we should be making teams kind of cater to us.
the lines have been so big. Like you're marking a bet in the South Sudan on the money line.
Yeah.
But the line was so big that it was, the payout, it was like, it was barely a 50-50 proposition. So I'm like, what's the point?
Yep. So my big plays for the day, I'm going to take Germany to win the silver medal on FanDuel. That is a market that is available as of last night. I did not check it this morning, but it was out there last night. And then I'm going to take France to beat Canada.
Okay.
At, I think, 12 p.m., not 3 p.m. They're at 12 p.m. today. So I would put some money there. That's where I think that the value is in this tournament. I really think that Germany and Australia, where it's at, where it's been, I've been saying that. So we'll see how it goes.
Have you bet on anything odd in the Olympics? Just since have you been home and it's been on television and you said, I just might as well gamble?
Not really, no. It's been basically basketball, swimming, and a little bit of soccer. Other than that, I try not to get too crazy with the Olympics just because you really got to know what you're gambling on to be successful in the Olympics. And if you don't follow these niche sports, you're not going to make any money.
Well, everybody follows the long jump, and I'm looking at the numbers on that right now. I mean, Metaldis Tagalu from Greece, he's minus 430. You want to talk about a favorite to end all favorites. I don't know if they should just give him the medal now or what, but next guy is that Italian at plus 1,400.
Have you
take a flyer on him?
Have you been recklessly gambling?
No.
No?
No, I took a very bad I took a bad beating during the Open Championship. I have not made a bet since.
Oh wow. I did lie to you guys just now. Bold face. I put money on golf.
Oh, what'd you bet?
I had Scotty. We talked about this a couple weeks ago.
So
I wasn't ready to fade him.
And I wasn't even wanting to talk about it until I turned it on Sunday morning. And I said, this is kind of interesting now. Between Rahm, Schauffele, Scotty, Rory, there were a bunch of guys in the hunt. And Scotty had made birdie on his first 3 holes, I think. I'm like, this is interesting. And really, when Rahm fell apart on the back nine, I wish I were watching it live. But I'm sure there was money to be made late in that tournament. Like, if you got Scotty early on, he probably wasn't a very good number. But if you got him at the turn, he was 6 strokes off the lead.
Yeah.
And if you got him then, you probably made a ton.
It was right around the time Rahm had a 4-shot lead over the field.
Yes.
Yeah.
We talk about this all the time, Hardy, when we talk about golf. You just, no matter what, I can't get to the window on fading Scotty Scheffler. I've done it one time, and it worked out for me one time, and I swear to God I'll never be that lucky again.
Do you remember Artie Lang back in the day? I don't know if you heard him, Fred, but he was betting the field against Tiger Woods, like major after major, thousands of dollars, and he just kept losing. And I think he did it during that 4 major stretch when Tiger won all 4 in a row.
That's the kind of luck that will get you sniffing glass and destroying your nose.
I think so.
It's just been a chalky year, like it has. And if you've chased it, you've made some money. But if you haven't, and sometimes people hate on being chalky, but sometimes that's where you make your money. And it's not just about picking chalky teams. It's about getting them with good value at the right time.
What about Simone Biles wearing a goat diamond necklace?
She is the GOAT.
Greatest athlete of all time?
Here's the thing. Like, do I think that she could play another sport successfully? Yes, she's that athletic. Do I think that other people could do what she does? No.
She's 4'8".
Yeah.
What sport is she going to play?
She could probably golf. She could dance.
Limbo?
She could dance. She could cheer. She could do whatever. You know what I mean? But I don't think that there's any other athlete you could point to and be like, yeah, they could be a gymnast. Like, do you
She's
think
the
LeBron,
greatest
LeBron
athlete?
could be a gymnast?
No, he's too tall.
Thank you.
He's too tall.
No, but he could play tight end in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could probably play hockey.
But we saw that guy from Team Japan who's like 5'6", shooting the 3. Maybe Simone Biles is wet from 3. We don't know.
I think I have a pretty good idea.
Are you sure? Have you seen her shoot a 3?
The ball has to be enormous in her hands.
I feel like she'd get shots blocked a lot.
But like, she
unless
could
it's
do
a
other
Muggsy Bogues
sports.
situation, and she's just too damn quick.
She also jumps like 12 feet up in the air. That's crazy.
Think Simone Biles
She can jump 12 feet?
No, legit. Like, she...
I don't think that she could get the ball. Like, I don't think that she could.
I mean, it'd have to be like a two-hander, but
you have to
she's not
factor in the
ball.
weight of the ball. Like, I mean, she'd have to get 2 hands above the rim.
I mean, seriously, you get into this athlete discussion with Simone Biles, and you automatically have to say, all right, we talking sports specific or are we talking just athletics? Because if it's athletics, then you're talking Gordie Howe, Bo Jackson.
I think it's just
Deion
athletics.
Sanders. Hell, Yeah, guys like Danny Ainge, guys who could play multiple sports at high levels. And then if you're not talking about just all-around sports, if you just want to go sport-specific, sure, Simone Biles may be the greatest Olympic gymnast from this country or any other. I guess maybe.
She doesn't have the most medals.
But to say that she is just a great athlete, well, then we're not talking about doing anything other than gymnastics.
But she's never had to,
Well, no, most people don't, but the fact is they could have.
But I think that
Tom Brady could have played baseball.
Yeah, but I think she could play other sports if she wanted to.
Like what?
I just told you. I think
cheering, which is gymnastics.
I think she could
dance,
yeah,
which is
I think that
gymnastics.
she could probably play volleyball if she wanted to.
Oh, no way. You got to be huge.
You don't have to be huge to play volleyball.
Yes, you do. But you have to be.
Don't.
It's certainly. It's of the essence. I was watching the women's U.S. team, and I was captivated by these young women and the passion and the athleticism. One lady on that team, 6'5".
Okay, one person.
Yeah, but the other women weren't. They didn't look like you. You can't be 4'8" and play volleyball.
Yes, you can.
You
You're
know
probably
that
not
for a
gonna play
fact?
on the net, but like there are girls who probably like 5'1", 5'2", who play volleyball.
For at an elite international level.
I would assume so. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's an assumption.
Yeah.
That's a wild assumption.
I don't think so.
Be careful.
She could be a figure skater, guys.
No way.
Synchronized swimming.
No
diving.
way. She couldn't do that. Do you think she could dance with that ribbon?
Grinding
she could
your
not.
gears is so easy.
No.
Here are the heights of your U.S. volleyball team. 5'11", 6'2", 6'1", 5'6", 6'2", 6'2".
But that's still
6'4", 6'4", 6'3".
5'6" is 10 inches taller than her.
5'3" or 6'3"?
6'3".
Oh, I thought you said 5'3".
6'8", 6'6", 6'2", 6'2".
I got 1.56. I'll take it.
Which is like,
8 inches shorter or 8 inches taller than Simone Biles.
10. Which is
You guys
what I
think she
said.
could do judo?
Yeah, probably. Look, she's a great athlete. What am I? But I don't like the more I was asking you is that the I don't like the braggadocio. You know what I'm saying? Don't call yourself the greatest.
You don't like the
Why?
necklace.
Is it because you're a Lions fan?
Well, I'm a Jets fan, and they're totally different.
Okay, even then, my point stands.
I don't see how they mirror themselves at all. One won a Super Bowl in 1969. The other has never.
Were you
won a
even
Super Bowl.
alive?
You know I wasn't, Kendra. You know damn well I wasn't. You know I was born in the year of our Lord 1975. So you two kids have got plans today, huh? It's a perfect weather for it.
I was going to give you an NFL future. You're going to like this.
Go ahead.
Garrett Wilson, I'm going to take some award money on him, 28-1. We're rocking with it. I
Okay.
think
For what?
For Offensive Player of the Year.
Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I think those are great odds. The fact that he's got a quarterback this year, I think he's going to... Me and Dan talked about it on Sunday. If you want to go listen to some of our NFL stuff from Saturday, we had a really good conversation in Hour 2 about some odds. Go listen to that Hour 2 segment. I think it was, there's a lot of value to be had before things get a little... That's the thing about, what we're getting into now. You're going to start seeing what people are capable of. We're going to start seeing some of these quarterbacks. Once Aaron Rodgers takes some snaps, I think that he's going to look a lot better than people think he's going to.
Do you think he'll play in the preseason?
I think he should.
Salah's on the fence. He says he's leaning no.
I think he should.
But it's going to be whatever he wants. Aaron Rodgers, after all, runs that team, like, quite literally. Like, they don't do much without running it by him first. He's got an awful lot of power. He was very nice to the people that were at camp yesterday, though. He was a real sweetheart.
I used to be his nanny. He's a nice guy.
Well, way to save this. We've had you in. You're like Adolfo. Like, oh yeah, a guy died in front of my house 2 days ago. You were Aaron Rodgers' nanny.
No, I was Robert Saleh's nanny.
Oh, Robert Saleh's nanny.
Yeah.
That's pretty
right.
good.
You have told me that before. But you're Robert Saleh's nanny. He's a nice guy. He's got 100 kids, right?
Yeah, he's got a lot of kids.
Is that religious?
Yeah, he is the first Muslim.
No, I know.
head coach, yeah.
But is the amount of kids he had a result of his religion?
I don't know. I know him and his wife love each other very much. They're very happy. One of the most in love couples I've ever met.
Really?
Oh my God, yeah. They're incredible.
Openly affectionate?
Yeah, like people
gross.
can hate on Rob. No, not like PDA type of thing. Like they have a very like they chirp each other. Like they have a funny relationship. Like they're good people.
All right.
Anybody who hates on Robert Saleh as a person is not cool with me because their whole family is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you?
It's just they're running the stairs enough.
What do you want him to run?
On a treadmill.
No, he wants to do he wants to do stairs. He
So
likes
everybody
vitamin
can see
D.
him.
It's an empty stadium.
Except it's not empty.
Except
the
it's
media's
not empty.
there.
There's hundreds of people there.
Hey, man. They don't ask him. That's the paparazzi, baby.
You know what? I'm just saying, be a little more reserved and buttoned up like Dan Campbell, and then I'll have
Button
more
up and
respect for you.
reserved like Dan Campbell.
And then maybe
Right.
he'll have the success. I mean, Salah's got a life, got a whole pocket full of success.
Do you guys remember in Hard Knocks whenever the Lions were on it and Dan Campbell tripped over the doggy gate of all his like chihuahuas and sprained his wrist?
No, I don't remember
No.
that. I can't watch Hard Knocks anymore.
It was good.
I watched one episode this year. Lockhart and I both were like, "Hey," he told me, he's like, "Hard Knocks is on tonight." Like, I forgot about that show. I watched it. It's not bad. I don't feel the need to watch it like we all used to. You had to watch it in the
I
first
can't
couple
believe
of
you
years.
didn't watch the Lions season. It was actually really good.
I did on a few.
It was good.
A few things.
All right. Well, listen.
I did watch it. Actually, that one I did watch quick.
Yeah, him tripping over he has like all the little like sausage dogs and chihuahuas and whatever, and he full on flipped
The
Did
coordinators
he kill one? Did any of them die?
The coordinators chirping at each other during that Lions Hard Knocks was pretty good.
It was good.
That was good.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to be better than what's his face from the Jets driving to the rest stop to go meet Darrelle Revis, so he can do it on the down low. Tannenbaum, that, and then Rex Ryan. You had Rex Ryan, and you had Tannenbaum losing control of the franchise. That was a good one. All right, listen, Kendra Middleton, how do people get in touch with you?
You should follow me on the internet right now because me and Hardy are shooting an Instagram reel today.
All right, now go be a mentor to my daughter.
Okay.
All right.
Do I get a please?
I mean, if you want to go upstairs or downstairs when your time comes.
What does that mean?
The heaven or hell. Make the choice now.
I'm smoking darts with Satan all day.
All right, then don't help her, because we're a family that of the Lord.
Okay.
No, go be charming to her.
Okay.
Come on, Kendra, please. All right, thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
right, Kendra Middleton. We will be back. Everyone is very heavy on Australia and Germany to win the gold. If you want to
No,
long
I didn't
shot.
say nope.
Heavy. Bet it all.
Oh my God.
Throw
Put
it all
the
on
mortgage
Germany.
down.
Host's not listening.
All right, we will be back in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports.
should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
It's a shame that Ryan Johnston refuses to participate in the email bit because Fred is coming back into the studio, and I would give you the floor, Ryan, but you refuse. You say you don't like it. You won't do it.
Much like Chris Berman and people of that, I do not do email.
Really? How do you get by?
No, he reads it and he sends it, but he doesn't read emails on the air as a thing.
No, I don't believe in email. I believe in person-to-person communication. I speak to people.
I've sent and received emails to and from you.
That's my people who handle that. Much like Matthew Judon, I have people around me who take care of that stuff. It's not necessarily me.
Okay. Here's one from Dave. Kendra is right. Simone Biles can jump 12 feet. She's leaving out the fact that she's using a springboard when she does it, though. Sneaky important factor.
If you put the vaulting horse like right in the lane, she could dunk. Right? She hits the springboard, hits the vault, flips up above the rim.
What was the sport they tried for a minute? Slam ball?
Oh God! Was that with the
trampoline?
The built-in trampolines into the court?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw the Righteous Gemstones where he takes the girl to the
He started it.
Yeah, because I'll tell you why. All right, if you don't know what we're talking about, Hardy had said, watch the Righteous Gemstones. You'd really like it. I think it's really good. And so what I do, which I think is, it really, it's just odd to me. It doesn't bother me, but it is odd to me. I don't even bring it up off the radio. Well, I'm also trying to be entertaining. Is that because I respect your opinion. So when I had the opportunity to watch television, I chose something that you suggested. I would work with like a guy like Wallach, and for 20 years I'd be saying, watch New Girl. It's 22 minutes. Watch New Girl. It's good. You like dumb things. Go watch New Girl. It's good. And he like just, have you seen New Girl? New Girl would come up and go, have you seen New Girl? No. Well, what have you been doing? Like you'll rewatch 90210 for 5 days in a row, but you won't take any of my suggestions.
Oh.
So I've been watching Righteous Gemstones, yes.
But do you like it?
I do.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why you're yelling. And I've watched 2 shows that you've recommended to me.
Because I was expressing my...
You're yelling at Wallach.
Yeah.
Okay. So I watched...
And he's far away, and he's only got one ear, so I got to yell.
I watched Dave.
Yeah.
Because of you. And what was the other one I started watching that you told me to?
Reservation Dogs. No?
No.
No.
It was the one before Dave. I can't remember.
All right.
It was
very good. The Brady Bunch, I believe. Patois. Sean says, what do you think about Modest Yahoo? He does the patois in every song. Modest Yahoo is a mystery wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in a riddle. Because he went full, like, Regatron. He went full, full on. Like, he sounds like Dizzy Rascal. Like, he went full on, like, going crazy with the stuff. But I don't know what to tell you about him. He's still rapping. But I don't think he doesn't look like, he doesn't wear the traditional garb anymore. So I don't know what he's doing. I'm getting a lot of emails about the commercial.
Oh my God. And now apparently there's a commercial running that it's called The Slate. Fred, I'm sure back in the day you had to do dubs at your radio station.
Yes.
No. Yeah. And at the beginning of commercials, they used to be sent on either reel-to-reel or mini disc, or sometimes you would get them via this very high-tech system that used computers to send audio. But at the beginning there's The Slate. 30-second commercial for Home Depot. Commercial number 224BX-13, 30 seconds. Beep. And then the commercial would run. Yeah, apparently that part is also running as part of the commercial on the app right now.
Oh, boy, they're really... and I don't even think that's a local thing. That's got to be a corporate thing.
In my most inept days of doing dubs at radio stations 25, 30 years ago, I don't think I ever included The Slate when I put something... Here, this is ready for air. I screwed stuff up. I never screwed up that badly.
I got a great story about that. So I've told you guys before the story about the dude at my radio station who would give himself the 2 to 6 shift at night and 2 to 6 in the morning and would do El Erotico, where he legit talks like I'm El Erotico, call me. And just take calls and they'd be like, you sound hot. Yeah, come up to the station. And he did it over and over and over again, and they finally caught him. So his real job was he was the guy who put the commercials into the system. So he would put the commercials into the system. Danielle, go mentor my daughter instead of making faces at me. She's in that room all alone waiting for you guys. I don't know what's wrong with you. You're very heartless. And so anyway, he would put the commercials in. So he put this commercial in I remember clearly, for a monster truck rally. And in the commercial, it said 96 Rock, which was our competitor. Our GM I had never seen yell. We're in this meeting. We used to have these big meetings like once a week with everyone in programming.
Did you do air checks?
I had to do air checks, but the DJs didn't have to come. But this is when I was secretary for the program department. So it was all the managers of the program department, the guys that put the commercials in, like the voiceover guy. And that would be who the meeting was, and it was usually very loose. The general manager, Mark Rainier, comes in and starts screaming at this dude. What the F? You put this commercial in, it says 96 Rock, but then in his back pocket, he's got the El Erotico stuff, which he's never addressed with him. And he's like, and it was so embarrassing because he had him dead to rights. Like, and then you're on the air with this effing El Erotico thing. You effing moron.
My heaven, my angel, I'm blessed by your hunger.
It was a thing that, like, none of us had talked about, like, openly, but we all knew about. So it was like, oh, and he's just eviscerating the guy. And oh, boy, did that guy should have been listening to the commercials he put in. Because that might be the most second most embarrassing in a meeting I've ever been for someone in my entire life. But this one had nothing to do with what he did in the meeting. I'll never forget that. I was 23 years old, and I'll never forget that meeting.
That's great.
I'll never forget that meeting for the rest of my life. And I don't even remember it fondly. It was so embarrassing. And it says 96 Rock in there, and we're in the middle of a war. And then I got you on the effing air. Why are you even on the air? You're not even a DJ. And when you're on there, you're just trying to get laid. El Erotico's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Is there something wrong with you? You really are that dumb, aren't you? You're a big dumbass. El Erotico, I can't get laid. I'm on the air. Call me. This is an effing for-profit radio station, you stupid egg. Like he's yelling at him. Oh, boy. And this was a large gentleman he was yelling at, too. Tara Lipinski, Hardy's second favorite Olympian, just happened across a Celebrity Family Feud, as one does. Perhaps you were at the doctor's office. I used to get my hair cut by a guy that would have on the Family Feud and be cutting my hair laughing audibly.
Well, wait a second. What incarnation of Family Feud?
Steve Harvey.
Oh, yeah. Steve Harvey has some good lines on that show.
I'm going to question audibly laughing. I'm going to question audibly laughing at the Family Feud. Like when you're cutting someone's hair and it's just you and the guy. I told you when I was in rehab, I love Family Guy. I've seen every episode a million times. But like Family Guy was on and like people were like laughing their asses off. And I'm like, I love this show, but I don't laugh my ass off. Like there's a lot of audible laughing going on in this room. Tara Lipinski was on the Olympic team. Hachi Machi, he says. At 42, she looks amazing. Just curious how Hardy feels about Miss Lipinski, or Mrs. Lipinski. I met Tara Lipinski while she was an Olympian. She came into the Mitch Albom show while she was an Olympian.
I'll see if I can get a still shot of what she looks like.
But I believe she was a teen when I met her. I was a young man myself, but she was, I believe, a teen. I believe that was the whole point of being on the show. She was very young. And an Olympian.
I mean, it's not fair to her, but her sport is a little too much. Look at me.
What about Peggy Fleming, though?
It's before my time. I really can't.
Yeah,
I can't.
I mean, she launched 1,000 chips with that hair style that she had.
Oh, that's our own Helen of Troy.
The Bonnie Tyler. Again, if I may make two references.
Dorothy Hamill?
Yeah. Oh, I'm thinking of Dorothy Hamill. Did she? If I could make two references to the show with Valerie Bertinelli on it today, without remembering the name of it.
What was the name of the maintenance man?
Schneider.
Very good. What did he have rolled up in his sleeve?
Pack smokes. That I remember.
What had he been in prison for?
Well, certainly not making love to his daughter, which is what Mackenzie Phillips accused her father of, and she was on that show. How were they related, by the way? Mackenzie Phillips is on one end of the spectrum. Val Bertinelli is decidedly on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I mean, Mackenzie Phillips, if you're on that show, has got to be very upset at God's cruel hand.
Now that you bring it up, that does like spark something in my memory. Wait, there's sisters?
Yeah.
There are actual biological sisters on this show? I don't know if I believe that.
And how did the pale redhead have the ethnic brunette, like almost Greek Valerie Bertinelli? You know what I'm saying? They did not look related at all. And now that's well before my time, the Valerie Bertinelli craze. I only knew her when she had the show with Matthew Perry, and they hooked up even though she was married. And that is your Hollywood Minute, ladies and gentlemen. All right, one more to take us in. You give me one more email, and then we'll call it a day.
Oh, I thought you had one more.
All right, I can give you one more.
I got one more. The movie you described when we were talking about Soul Man, this from Mike. He said that movie you just described is the plot of A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger. Instead of a kid pretending to be black, it's a peasant pretending to be a knight. Same exact movie. Now, I've seen parts of A Knight's Tale, but we've gone down this road before. Exact same plot line, just swap out jobs or sometimes gender, and it's the same movie almost exactly.
Well, yeah, but those are like tales as old as time. Like, I'm sure that there's old, like, Grimm Brothers stuff where it's like someone perpetrating, like,
Brothers
something
Grimm,
that they're
thank you.
Yeah, the Brothers Grimm, my bad.
Maybe you read a book instead of listening to a book. You'll have a better recall for these things.
Wow. Someone doesn't like the blind.
Listening to you. I thought I made that quite evident yesterday. I thought I made my position very clear on that yesterday. Duh.
He was still upset at the blind guy after the show.
I was more upset at you for thinking that he was all a work that he was in on the joke the whole time. That guy was legitimately mad at me.
No, he was not.
Nick!
He was not legitimately mad at you.
Mike, anybody, back me up.
I don't know
we
what
talked
Kendra's
about it
doing
this
in there.
morning.
But the engineer's in there. It's a big happy family.
There's literally no one listening to the show.
No, it's really a situation.
Okay.
What's he doing back there? The engineer. He's just having a seat.
Engineer stuff.
How about not during the show? Jesus Christ. Whatever, man. No one else cares. I don't care.
I had to put on headphones to listen to you guys.
It's just like no one else cares.
Don't you love that when you're like producing a show or you're working on something in a production studio and people will come in and have a conversation so loud it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Is my work in the radio here disrupting your conversation? It's like the Maz conversation he'll have when he comes in the studio for the crossover before the midday show. He just shouts to make himself heard.
I just see the caring of the on-air product just becoming so secondary to everything around here. It's very interesting to me.
Well, they get that commercial thing buttoned up on the app, and maybe you'll feel better about it.
Yeah, maybe corporate could, cut out the leader on an ad that they're playing nationally on every radio stream. That could be a good step in the right direction.
People were saying earlier it was like a book on tape that was running for like 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. But listen, who am I to complain? What am I? I'm a jerk who cares about the station. That's me. Big old jerk. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
possibly have missed from the show. It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Hey! We're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Danielle, who's filling in down the hall, a good friend of ours, she rehabs squirrels. She has a baby squirrel, and Kendra's out there taking pictures of the baby squirrel. And this is from someone who ate squirrel, and I'm not making that up.
Wait, she has a baby squirrel here?
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh.
It's a baby squirrel. I mean, it's real small. And Kendra would shoot and eat the squirrel. So all I told Danielle was, I'm like, you're tempting her with the food. This to her is food. She's went to Auburn. You can't get varmints around them. It's like of mice and men. She's gonna snap that thing's neck.
If you accidentally kill it, what you do is take it to Boston Common and then throw a discarded bicycle next to it, and then just pass it off as it got hit by a bicycle.
Yeah, but first drive it around in your car for a day.
Right, as it to and from falconing.
Yeah, we played a story that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., if you didn't know, he's 70 years old. He said that he was driving up to go look at falcons in upstate New York, and to his great joy, a van in front of him hit a bear cub, and he picked the corpse off the road and threw it in the back of his van, so whatever, right? But then went on falconing, then drove back went to Brooklyn, had dinner. Then he was with a group of people, and he said, oh, you know what? I got to catch a flight. I never factored in this air flight I had to take. So
and I have a bear corpse in the back of my Ford Explorer.
Which I contended, like, I don't go grocery shopping and keep groceries in the car for even an hour, let alone a corpse for a day. And then he threw it in Central Park and put a bike next to it. I'm sure it's all on the level and nothing happened that he's not saying.
Well, there's no family. There's no family history of abandoning.
I just want to clarify. He wasn't going to look at falcons. Like, he was hunting with a falcon. Like, that's falconing is taking your trained bird out into the wilderness and letting it catch game for you.
Like the first book of the Dark Towers series, as our young hero there defeats the other guy with a falcon.
You're the second guy I know that is a big Dark Towers guy.
I only made it through 2 books.
Eric Mangan. That's what Game of Thrones is about, right? Or no? That's Stephen King's Dark Towers, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not the Game of Thrones, but yeah, Stephen King.
I think I made it through the drawing of the 3, and that was it. I tapped out.
Wait, so you bring a falcon to the woods, and then the falcon goes and picks up like a squirrel and brings it back to you?
Exactly.
Oh!
I thought trained the falcon to hunt.
He wasn't bird watching. No, he's literally
in fact, he says during that story, he's like, after the day of falconing, we had a bunch of game. They're taking food home with them. Of course, then he had to go to Peter Luger's, so apparently they didn't catch that much.
Yeah, I know. Nothing makes sense. It's a bad story, and his inability to lie is concerning. But or tell a believable lie. Well, this is the first time ever hearing of this. Were you guys aware that this was an activity?
No, not that anybody still did.
Oh, I didn't even know that you could do it. When falconing, I thought that was just when you go to like an arena and then it flies down and it gets back on your arm.
Apparently, falconing is legal in every state except Hawaii.
Well, we know
according
why.
to the Ohio School of Falconry.
They pick up one of them ancient taboos. You're going to start wiping out and surfing and have tarantulas on you.
And they just decimate the poi crop, so you can't have falcons up there flying around everywhere. You want a good story, Fred?
Yeah.
Wes Scantlin from Puddle of Mud.
He's holding up well.
Was arrested after a traffic stop turned into a standoff with cops who had to use pepper spray to get him out of his car, according to law enforcement.
I feel kind of uncomfortable with him in that thing.
Why? He's just covering Nirvana. It sounds good.
Because it's like, all right.
Hang me out to dry.
If the next time a website judges something I say, if they've ever put that clip up, that's picking on a guy that's completely mentally ill.
What's mentally ill about this?
In your life,
I just got to say, if we're in a world where you can't poke fun at things, I would call into question making fun of the guy from Puddle of Mud, because I got news for you. It's never going to get better for him.
Well,
unless it all gets better for him. This is going to be, and what sucks for him is he's not even getting any riches out of it.
He's still driving a Hummer H2 in Burbank, so he's doing okay.
Yeah.
But they found
they stopped making those a while ago.
They found out he had an active warrant from a previous case for allegedly having a weapon at an airport. Who hasn't done that? They told him to get out of the car. He refused several attempts. A crisis negotiator came, but he still wouldn't get out. So then they used the pepper spray. That didn't work. So SWAT came at 4 a.m. to break the window to shoot non-lethal pepper balls to get him to surrender and exit the car.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't get the advantage of, like, when it's like Robert Downey Jr. or someone, and you're like, oh, well, they're trading on fame, so that comes with fame, is getting, all your foibles talked about nationally. Wes Scanlon doesn't even have that. He just happened to be in like a band with 2 hits. That song. In like 2002, and the only thing that he gets pressed for now is every time he gets arrested. There's like tens of thousands of people getting arrested at the same rate as Wes Scanlon. But they just started some police plotter. He's got to be on the radio every time. I'm on Wes Scanlon's side of this. 2009, by the way.
I'm sure he appreciates your support.
Listen, he's got my support.
That guy could do a lot worse.
2009 H2 Hummer. It was the last Hummer H2 that they made.
So it's damn near an antique. That thing's valuable.
Yeah, and how do you know he had that one, is what I'm being asked. They didn't seem to follow through with the interior of the Hummer. Have you ever been in one?
I drove that original BCN Hummer once, the one that I think Berardini had. Like, it was a Hummer, and not a comfortable ride.
No, not good inside. All right, well, Hardy's off to make video magic with Kendra. That'll do it for us. The good news is Wallach's not in tomorrow. That'll do it for us.